Hi, everybody. I have a old video for you. It was from 2020 during the pandemic, which nobody warned us of. And it is a reading I had done live over Facebook from a psychic medium I'm named Ray, R-A-E. She had no online presence. She was somebody who'd written to me saying, the reason why you don't believe in psychics is because you haven't had a reading from a real psychic. I said, well, I'll do it. She said she'll give me a free reading. And I said, of course, okay. I said, but to be upfront with you and honest with everybody, I don't want people to think I'm taking it out of take the reading out of cherry picking to find where you're wrong. And so let's do it live over Facebook so people can see the reading happening in real time and make comments and so on. And if you are correct, then everybody will know at the same time. And she's like, well, I don't do Facebook. I don't have anything to do with that. And I don't want to be on film. I said, fine, we'll just record it and I'll put you on speakerphone. I'll call you on the phone and you'll be on speakerphone. You don't even have to identify who you are. Let's just see what happens. And so she agreed to it. So I did this video. I had first been approached by her in July of 2020. And so we had a long conversations about different things. And I wrote an article for Skeptical Inquirer about it. And this has been on my personal YouTube channel, Susan Gerbic, for a long time, and the video. And I decided to pull it. Well, it's still there, but I took it off and now I'm going to upload it to attach it to what I'm saying right now. So what's going to happen is I'm going to talk to you about the video and then I'm going to paste it in there so it's in one place, because I only started the Psychics Explain YouTube channel in 2023. So I'd like to have all the psychic stuff kind of in one place, and this is what I'll do. So the article I will link to in the description under this video that you're watching right now, and it looks like this. I'm always reporting whenever I do anything, and it's going to give it away that it was a failure. Sorry. Abysmal failure, I call it. A skeptical psychic medium attempts to read Susan Gerbic. Yeah, I remember now. She's called herself a skeptical psychic medium, which is fascinating. Anyway, there's a long article that includes all the emails I had with her before and after the event. Let's just say nothing came true and nothing was accurate. She got me pretty wrong. And there's always a risk because I'm such a very public person. I don't have much that isn't out there that could be found. I mean, things can be found about me. So I'm not locking down my social media. And of course, there's newspaper articles and Wikipedia and all kinds of places and lots of articles about me and interviews I've done that I wouldn't remember at all if somebody's gleaned a little bit of information about some obscure interview I did 10 years ago. I just assumed that I'm too easy to be hot read, and that if a psychic was to come up with any kind of information on me, it could have been gleaned easily from who knows where. I mean, seriously, I've got genealogy stuff out there. I've been on Twitter for years, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook I've been on it forever. And so I'm one of these people who just doesn't really think of I lost my privacy probably at birth, with my first birth, when they announced the birth of Susan Marie Gerbic in the newspaper back in the day, 1962. And so I don't think you can really protect your privacy. I just don't really think it's going to be. So I don't bother. Anyway, so she obviously didn't look me up because she got so much wrong. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It is quite long, and I do a little outro with people who were watching the video and they were just like intrigued. So yeah, I've had lots of readings done. And usually when you get readings, you really should record them, because if you can't record them, at least get the audio, because you never know what's going to happen. All right, so I'll put those together and hopefully you enjoy this, and please leave your comments below. I appreciate it. Thanks. This meeting is being recorded. Okay, I'm going to make sure she knows she's being recorded. We've already exchanged emails, so I know she's been told. Okay, now that we're recording. So this psychic reached out to me via Center for Inquiry, sent an email to me, which was accidentally sent to the CFI investigation group first, and they responded to her thinking that she was trying to take the paranormal challenge. When we got it all figured out, she was actually writing to me, and she reached out to me with this email. Greetings, Susan. A friend of mine shared one of your articles with me. I'm looking at the email because I have a second screen over here. I'm wondering, are you fully convinced that there are no true psychics? Or would you like to talk to and have a free reading with a true and genuine psychic? I'm also a skeptic, perhaps one of the very few psychic skeptics in the world. I look forward to hearing from you. And that was her email to me. And I immediately said, sure, as long as I can record it, let's do it over Zoom so that people can watch and judge for themselves. I did say that, you know, if you're going to do a reading for me, and let's say it's 100% accurate, and I just repress the reading, so that then it's not really fair to her, because I'm just hiding it, and then I'd look like one of these bad people who pretend, you know, who's going to cover up the evidence. So I said, let's do it live so that anybody who's watching it will know as soon as I do, and that, you know, I'm talking to a genuine psychic. But she said that she wasn't comfortable with she was comfortable with recording. Well, here's what she says. It is clear you have an intense drive to prove your thoughts. However, I am not motivated by money or fame, and definitely not interested in a debut. This is a genuine offer to allow you to have an experience with a true psychic. You may certainly record the session. As you already know, I do not have a Facebook account. I am not into technology and have very little knowledge of it. I come from a time when people actually communicated directly and respectful to each other. In addition, I do not know what a Zoom link is. This reading is for you. It will be by phone. And if you are pure in your desire to have a real reading, I'm offering that. There's no way to attempt to prove anything to anyone. I believe your pursuit is noble, as there are many who take advantage of others. However, there includes a possibility there are people who are genuine and have a strong desire to help others. I have such a desire. Additionally, I will not be subject to degradation and sarcasm. As I come to you with respect and encouragement, I hope you are of the same caliber of person to show the same. So that was my exchange with her. We went back and forth and picked today. At this time, she's in Oregon. She has a couple children, and her husband had to be around to watch the kids while this is happening. And she did suggest one more thing. Okay, she did say, in the gesture of expressing the possibility there are legitimate people like myself, I'd like to offer a second reading to you to give to someone else. I offer this because I imagine there is quite a bit of information about you in the world, and I would like to erase doubt or anticipation of a controlled or contrived reading. I do ask there is honesty, meaning no fake names. I read energy. Giving false information not only is deceitful, but also does not allow you to be open. So I guess she's saying, you know, that what I did with the fake Facebook pages with Thomas John, that was deceitful, because I was deceitful by putting fake Facebook pages and a fake name when I attended the Thomas John reading. Then therefore that meant that he was going to give me a bad reading, which I'm not really sure I understand, because the reading he gave me was directly from the Facebook pages that I had no access to and Mark Edward had no access to. So the deceit, I feel, is on the Thomas John and not on my end. But whatever, that's what this psychic who's going to be reading me today thinks. And I'm calling her Ray, because her real name is so unusual that it would definitely give away who she is. It is not anybody you know. just be clear about that too. It's not Teresa Caputo or anybody like that. This is somebody has a website, and this is the first I've ever heard of her. She said about my friend that she wants to give the reading to, she only needs to know their first name and that they're on the phone. If they're open, their energy will do the rest. With most readings, personal information does come up. Be prepared for that. Remind me, I've got to say something about that too, that I'm okay with any personal information. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm making myself a note because I want her to make sure she knows that she can say whatever she wants. I don't care. I do not ask for anything in return, and I'm not looking for notoriety. I like my quiet, simple life, which is why I'm not giving her publicity as her name. This will be reading over the phone, so I'm going to put my phone on speaker, and then hopefully, you guys are going to be really quiet over here, so hopefully we'll be able to hear her okay. And I have a few questions. Oh, so the independent CFI-IG responded to her thinking that they had somebody who was willing to take their $250,000 paranormal challenge, and Jim Underdown, who's the director there, was trying to talk to her about, oh, so you're going to take our challenge and blah blah blah. And Ray responded saying, no, I'm reaching out to Susan. And so there was miscommunication there. And she said that, and I'm paraphrasing this, I don't have the email pulled up in front of me, but what she was trying to say is that she feels that the work that I'm doing, I guess, is good work, I guess, to expose people who are fraudulent. I'll see if I can get that more clear in a minute. And that possibly the problem is I've never had a real genuine reading from a real psychic. So therefore I can't compare a real psychic to a fraudulent psychic. I know what you're thinking, and I'm not psychic, but what she's saying is that she's the real deal and that I should have something to compare it with. And Jim Underdown responded with she gave the analogy of, when you go to a mechanic or I guess a doctor, you need to be able to know a good doctor from a bad doctor or a bad mechanic from a good mechanic. You have to have experienced the good and the bad so that you can differentiate between the two. And his response is really good. He says, well, your analogy doesn't hold up because, we know doctors and medicine work. I mean, we know mechanics can fix cars. Those are real things, but we don't have any proof of a real psychic. So how can we know a good from a bad when we don't even know if it's there? And I think it's the Ray Hyman imperative. I think it's what it's called, where before you start testing something, you should know there's a there to test. So until we try to decide if a ghost is a ghost, we need to define a ghost. What is a ghost? Before we can tell if a psychic is a real psychic, we kind of need to know what is a psychic. I mean, how do you define a psychic? So I'm about to call her in 5 minutes, you guys. So anyway, I had set up a sting for this person and I decided not to. We'll see. I was wary of doing something to really embarrass this person. I thought, well, maybe I could do a sting on her anyway, even though, because she's probably not going to ever see this, but maybe she will. And, after exchanging emails from her for a while, I kind of think that this is my impression, and we might find out in a few minutes, that she believes she is the real thing. And like, I personally, in my belief, I don't think that Tyler Henry and Teresa Caputo and Sylvia Brown and all those people, I don't think they really ever believed they were real. But this person, I think, believes it. And I think that what I'm going to try to do in conversation with her, I hope, because I hope the reading doesn't go on too long. I mean, because, oh my gosh. But hopefully half an hour is going to be my maximum, because you're only going to be able to see me. So I'm going to be sitting here trying to do whatever it is she tells me that I need to do to prepare. I don't know if it's meditation or stand on one foot, or I don't really know what she's going to tell me to do to prepare for this reading. But I'm going to try my darndest not to look sarcastic or whatever, because I would love to have a reading. Man, my parents might come through. This would be great.
absolutely adore to talk to my parents. So I am, oh, so I feel like, and like I said, we'll find out ourselves. You guys will find out at the same time I do. I feel like maybe this is a person who maybe can come along on the journey of learning about critical thinking and self-testing yourself. Maybe not. I don't think that yelling at people and calling them idiots and all that other stuff is helps at all. I think that people need to save face. I think it's very important for the human experience for them not to be told the answer to a question, but to allow them to find the answer to the question and maybe find it. You could lead them there, and that's why I think Wikipedia is so important, is that we want people to be able to say, I'm starting to challenge my beliefs a little bit, and I think that maybe there's maybe I should, maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe I am just talking to myself. Maybe this is all, something I was raised to believe. But maybe, and then they kind of start getting themselves out of it. I mean, Lord, I know I did, because I was not raised a critical thinker at all. And I think probably a lot of you people out there too, you were raised in religion, and you were raised with maybe anti-vax beliefs, or who knows what. I think that most people I meet, other than my kids, probably have never had any kind of, paranormal beliefs or anything like that. So I'm about to call her. The other thing I want to mention really, really quickly is that this woman, she has a website. So obviously she's on some sort of, she does have some technology, because it's a nice looking website. She looks like she's had a pretty hard life, but she seems to be really happy now. She has a husband and 2 kids, small children. She says she's very happy. She does appearances and parties. She also does pet readings. And then she's a medium. And that is where my red flag goes up. Anybody who's claiming to speak to the dead that is just like crossing a line with me. It's one thing to pretend you're psychic, or to play a psychic and read tarot cards at an event. Yes, that can be a gateway that leads to worse things, but mediumship to me is like really crossing the line. And when you go into psychic detectives and so on, that's even more of a crossing a line. But she's not saying that. But there are a couple serious concerns on her website, and I'm going to try to gently ask her about these and get it on record. Is that she says she can communicate with not only dead people, but she's communicating through their energy. She uses energy a lot, and she can communicate with people in comas. She can communicate with infants and the embryo in the mother, and she can communicate with people with autism and cognitive difficulties. Now, those huge red flags right there. That is facilitated communication, except I guess she says that she's doing, without holding their hand. But that's a big deal. Sorry, it's lunchtime for me, guys, so I'm going to try my best not to have my stomach growl. I just had a cheese stick and some crackers and a cookie, so hopefully I'm good. So those are all serious problems with me, is whenever somebody's communicating with somebody who cannot communicate back, somebody with severe cognitive disabilities and unable to communicate, and people who are, pregnancy, what? Comas? Really? So I'm not okay with that. All right, so I'm about to call her. Now I'm gonna warn you that I can see you on, I can see about 5 of your comments, and then it kind of falls off the screen because, well, let me see if I can do this real quick. I better do it really quick because I got to call her. She doesn't have my phone number. I really don't want to have calls. Let me see if I can see this. Ooh, the psychic, yes. Oh, hi, you guys. Okay, I have to turn off the volume on this because otherwise I'm just listening to myself. It's a little distracting to do it this way because I can see myself in the corner of my eye doing 15 seconds ago. There I go, wave my hand. But I think I can see your comments better there. So if you guys give me a really interesting comment, I'm going to have to put it into my own words because she does not know I'm doing a Zoom. She knows I'm recording, but she doesn't know it's live, all right? So, well, she's psychic, so of course she should know. Okay. I need to pull up her email because it's got her phone number in here. And remember, I'm going to call her Ray. And I talked to her yesterday. So as far as I know, this is still gone. And I've checked my email several times today and she has not called it off. So I hope you can hear it. And I may ask, can you hear her? I'll turn up the volume as far as I can. A couple minutes late. She's in Oregon, so she's probably got her stomach growling too. 409. Don't make me laugh.
Hello.
Hi, Ray. It's Susan Gerbic.
Hey, how are you doing, Susan? Thank you so much for calling.
Well, thank you for agreeing to do this. I think this is going to be really interesting. I've been thinking about making sure that I don't know what it is you need me to do to prepare. Do I need to be in some sort of state or?
No, nothing like that. Actually, let me know when you're recording. Did you start already?
Yes, I already started recording. That's great. And I also want to make sure you knew that I'm okay if you say anything that's personal. I mean, I really, that's fine. If you were to say, I don't know, get in contact with something that might be embarrassing to somebody else, go for it.
Okay. I usually, if I see something like that, I usually say, do you want me to speak frankly or give you a nice reading?
No, go ahead and speak frankly. If you see some doom and gloom, I want to know. I'm that type of person. I'm the type that wants the truth.
Everything, I'm the same way. No, I was going to suggest, did you want to have your friend have the reading first? So you could just kind of hang back and listen and take notes, and then maybe you could, have some more things come to you before your reading?
Well, my friend wasn't able to show up. I'm really sorry to hear that, but with the pandemic and all that, it just didn't work out because so I'm hoping that we'll see if we do another one and if she feels up to it and not and on. But anyway, I'm ready. I'm open for whatever you want to say. But I'm sure I'm going to have some questions afterwards if that's all right with you.
Yeah, so I like to tell people when I read them for the first time how things kind of work for me. And then because you are going to use this for some of your research, I will go, as we go along, I'll go into more detail, each thing too. Okay? So how it works for me when I'm reading for someone is I see them in an all white space. Okay, so basically I would see you in an all white space, and then things would come up around you and maybe float around that space. People may or may not come in to that space. So I'll tell you what I see, feel, and hear in that space.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of times things don't make sense to me, but they will to the person I'm reading to. So number of times you'll hear me say, does this make sense to you? Like, do you understand this? Does this make sense to you? And by that, I just mean, are you able to identify this information?
Okay.
Okay. So let me just take a look. Can I have you just take a couple of deep breaths for me, please?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll take like a couple minutes, like 2 minutes, just for me to get into your energy, just because this is the first time that we've talked and connected. Okay, so the first things I'm feeling is kind of an anxious energy, anxious energy. I want to explain this part too. So when I'm going into energy, it's almost like peeling away at an onion. So the first things I see are that outer layer that everyone else sees. So if I say, I see this, you're like, okay, everyone sees that. But then the next layer, it's going to be things that people are close to you know and see. And then the next layer sort of going in further into your energy. So as we go along and I get deeper into your energy, that's where the more personal things are going to come. So I'm quite sure you're not going to be impressed with the first 5 to 10 minutes, okay? But bear with me as I get into your energy a little bit more. Things are going to be more detailed and more deeper in your energy, okay?
Okay.
But the first thing I get is that kind of nervous energy. And I feel it in my chest, and I feel that tend to carry your stress in your chest, where it can get to the point where your energy gets, it's almost hard for you to breathe. Like I feel like this, like that kind of nervous, taking a deep breath and it kind of shakes on the way out. And also too, one thing that I notice is that your outward energy that people can kind of see, sometimes they get the impression that you're this really tough person, like, oh, don't mess with Susan, like she's tough, she's not here. But you really have this gentle kindness about you. And I think that's just a protectant of yourself, because you really have a very kind, genuine spirit, like especially with little kids and animals and flowers, like you have a very genuine, kind spirit. But you're not going to take any crap from anybody. And that's that tough layer that people see.
Okay.
Just see here. I'm also getting some diet issues with you, and they're health related. I'm seeing some changes in your diet due to some health concerns. And for some reason, I'm getting this, tell her eggs are good for you.
Eggs?
Eggs, yeah, because of the calcium.
Oh, I thought you meant like my baby eggs.
No, I mean like eggs, like dietary.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because of the high amounts of calcium. But I'm getting that message. I need to tell you that eggs are good for you because of the calcium, because I'm seeing your calcium is a little bit low also. I feel so much pressure on my chest. Just trying to get through here. So, like everyone else in the world, I see you had a trip that was canceled as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what I'm seeing now is there is, and this comes up with your group that you have, you're not completely satisfied the way things are going. It feels like we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I really feel like you're like, we need to move in forward. We need to have something new here that is feeling, you feel like you're not doing enough. And it just kind of feels like, it almost feels like you're in border, as if you're like standing in a circle and you can't get out of this circle. That's just like, there's more that has to be learned here, because you really have a very strong drive. And when you get to a certain point, and it's not moving further, it can be frustrating. And then you start thinking, okay, well, what other things am I interested in? And I feel that this is not just because of the information, but I feel like there are some people in your group that kind of hold everything back. So it's kind of this is what we do, this is kind of how it is, but there's more out there. And I see that kind of internal frustration in that internal office politic thing. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you?
Well, sorta.
Okay. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess a better way to explain it is that your drive, while you have the same goals with other people, your drive is different. Your drive is, I want to help people, and the other drive is, someone else's drive, or a couple people I feel close to you, is that I just want to prove people wrong. And so while you have the same developmental concept, the hearts are in different places. And yours, and like I said, you have this very genuine heart to help people, and it feels like you're not doing enough in that area. So hopefully today I will give you some more research to kind of see differently with that. But some of the people in your group, their minds are not able to grow, I guess is the way to put it. And then we'll move on from here.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm seeing more things up in your space. I am seeing a cat walk through your space. So you either have a cat or do you know someone who has a cat that's close to you?
Yeah.
Because the cat is very comfortable walking through your space and it's not leaving your space. So that's why I know it's either yours or someone very close to you because it's very comfortable in your energy.
Okay.
This thing sounds weird, but is the cat's name related to a witch? Like I'm getting like a witch. They're showing me like a little emblem or like a little hat like close to the cat.
A witch? Like a Halloween witch?
Like a Halloween, like I'm seeing like a little like a witch hat and broom like close to that, but small. I mean, close to it, meaning that there was something related to that, to the cat. Like is there a reference to like witch's cat, or you know what I mean, like some kind of a, I'm just seeing these little.
Not that I know of, no.
Okay.
Not
so
unless
is it
it's
a black cat then?
not unless it's some obscure reference that I'm not aware of.
Okay, it may be. So let's
Is this a cat that's living or dead?
What's that?
Is it a cat that's living or dead? I've had many cats in my life.
This is a live one. This one is alive.
Okay.
So, okay, let's move on. But it just keeps giving me this reference to a witch. I don't know if it could be, you know, something that referred to it, or it could be tied to Halloween. But if you're not getting it, let's move on. I don't like to waste time on things that aren't connected. To see. Okay. As I kind of go in a little bit further, I am seeing that there is some father issues there.
Okay.
And it's that he wasn't an emotional person and tended to kind of shut down your emotions. Do you know what I mean? Like if when you were little, and I don't mean like a baby, but I mean as a child, like the crying, like he had no patience. It's like his ability to understand your emotional states from time to time, unless it was something major, was very, very difficult for him. Like he just could not grasp, okay, I don't know why you're crying because, you know, if your doll broke, it's a doll, get over it kind of thing.
Right. Is this something that you see in my childhood or my adulthood, or?
I'm seeing it in the childhood for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing there's more distance later on between you. But go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I'm seeing that was a very hard thing to kind of grow up with. And the same thing, even older, it's like he really had a hard time connecting with your emotions and what was important to you. Okay. Even when you had an accomplishment at school or an extracurricular activity, it was all excitement, yay, like, okay, you did that, you know. Mm-hmm. And so he wasn't really emotionally there, but I do see that he was a provider, just not emotionally present.
Okay.
So now also I'm seeing your mother. So I really see that they've struggled financially, and she worked very hard. Mm-hmm. But I do see that there were issues between them because she was more the nurturer and didn't agree with what he was saying, but she couldn't say anything. You know, there's a different dynamic at that time. But she would kind of, you know, later like come in and cuddle. I see more than just you though. You weren't an only child. I see more than you. How many siblings did you have?
I have, well, I have several. It depends on if you're talking about step or half.
So what I'm seeing now is 3. So were there 3 together in a grouping?
Does that include me? Or is that me and 3 others?
That would include you.
Yes. Okay. There are 3. Yeah.
So that's the grouping I'm seeing.
Okay. 3 people. Okay.
I'm seeing who is tied to the water, the ocean, like they have a job out on the ocean. They're tied to either sea or ocean. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing like a large body of water that they're tied to.
Of my siblings?
Yes.
Well, we all live in California and there's a large ocean near us, but nobody works on the sea. I mean, they're near the sea. I mean,
They would have to be able to see it. Are they able to see it? Like, you're not on like East California, are you? Because I'm seeing them close to the water.
No, I mean, if they drove a little bit, they could see it, but they can't see it from their windows or anything like that. But I mean,
but I mean, they're on my point is they're not inland, right? They're not on the east side of California.
No.
Okay. All right, let me just take a look. Oh, so I forgot to mention this too. So I like to, in the beginning, tell the person what I'm seeing first, like what comes up first, like I'm doing for you. And then when you have questions, what it looks like to me is almost as if a big roadmap opens. And the major, like if you imagine what a roadmap looks like, the major cities obviously are busier, more roads go to there. When you say, okay, I want to look at my career, I want to look at finances, I literally scan across that map and look for that area. So while there's a lot of things on there, it helps me to know what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So,
it's a visualization. Sure.
Okay, let me just take a look and see what else kind of comes up for you. Is there anything that are any questions that you have right now?
I'm curious just to see where it goes. No, you just tell me what you see, and it's what it is.
Okay, let me just keep looking because there still isn't a whole lot in your space right now, so I want to get in a little bit deeper. Okay, one of the things, this is one of the weird things I know else can come up, but you're really not great at putting laundry away. Because I'm seeing more kind of laundry coming up, and like laundry is not a strong suit. You know, hanging things up and
that is an odd thing. Okay.
A lot of weird things come up sometimes, but it's just kind of wasting your energy. And I do see that you do like to cook or would like to cook more, and you just don't have a lot of opportunity to do that now. But I'm do think that as I see this, I'm seeing more live plants around you. So I don't know if this is a garden or that you like to have fresh fruits and vegetables, produce. But I'm seeing a lot of plants coming around you about this.
Yes.
Okay, so did you have a health scare that caused your diet to change? Because again, as the diet comes up, I'm seeing it's health related.
I've had medical problems in the past, but I can't think of anything that's changed my diet other than just, common sense time to change my diet, but not, no, I haven't had a health scare that is involved in my diet changing. I don't think so.
Changing as far as like sodium and cholesterol, like being more aware of the kinds of food that you're eating. So I'm seeing a shift, and not like an immediate shift, like, okay, I have to start doing this now. But I would say about a 2 to 3 year change, like from where your original diet was to like 3 years later, it's completely different. Not different as in you don't eat meat anymore, but I mean different as in like eating fresher foods, going more with the fresh produce and just being more health awareness.
Okay.
Why is the basement coming up? I'm getting a basement reference here.
Oh, a basement. That's interesting.
Yeah, this is a basement reference. So there's something recent with the basement reference. This is one of those things I don't understand.
A,
Does this make sense to you, the basement reference?
a basement? No, no.
I find it interesting because generally there aren't a lot of basements on the West Coast.
No.
This is why it's interesting that it's coming up.
Yeah.
So if it's not a literal basement, then it could be a metaphorical basement. And so we need to look closer at that. But
Sure.
It's unusual for a basement to come up if you're in California. So I'm actually getting this tied to your youth in the past.
My youth?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a basement?
Yes. So the house you lived in when you were a kid had a basement.
No.
There was stuff down there, and I'm also seeing that you felt very uncomfortable down there. It was like one of those typical scary like basements that.
Yeah, I've always found basements scary. They're, you know, dark and.
Yeah. And that may come to you later. But
okay.
Again, because let's just kind of keep going. With energy, a person's energy is very related to their personality. And so if a person is kind of closed or if they're very guarded, it's more difficult to get to their energy. It takes a little bit longer. If they're more open, then obviously it's easier. Can you take another deep breath for me, please? Let's see. I'm kind of hoping more things come up in your space, but there isn't a whole lot coming up right now, so I'm gonna keep looking. You don't have any questions yet?
Not specifically. No, I'm really interested in what you're going to find. That's great.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of hoping to read for the other person first, because that way you can, you know, kind of see, because I said you had a lot of readings, and I don't know how those what kinds they were, but I can kind of tell that that's kind of given a different perspective for you, that you've had so many that it's, you know what I mean? It hasn't allowed you to be open because you've been disappointed a lot.
Okay.
More nature stuff coming up around you, but it's beautiful stuff, like flowers, like not a hiking, like, you know, camping in the middle of nowhere, but just beauty. So I'm seeing a lot of flowers around you.
Yeah, I love flowers.
Well, I see you also like to plant them too, like outside and stuff. And pink is particularly like a fuchsia pink.
A fuchsia pink. Oh, okay.
Yeah, fuchsia
That's
pink.
very pretty.
So now I see the cat coming through again. This is your cat. You have a cat now, right?
Yes.
This is your cat. It's connected to you, because I see you talking to it a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm also getting a tea reference.
A tea, like drinking tea, or the tea
like
letter
drinking tea.
Oh yeah.
Drinking tea reference. But it's connected with the cat too. So what I'm saying is this is a relaxed thing, like you and the cat at home with tea. Like it's just, you know, it's more relaxed. It's not, I'm not seeing you like at work drinking tea. This is a relaxed setting. But the cat really helps, because you certainly tell the cat a lot of things that you probably couldn't tell other people. And you just talk to it casually, like watching TV, like, hey, you know. So I can connect with that also. I get that. So now you had 2 cats prior that passed, but there were 2 cats. It wasn't just a single cat.
Yeah, I've had many cats.
I mean, you had 2 at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So I'm getting that there's a sibling that you guys don't really see eye to eye on. You don't really get along. That's best to keep distance from each other. That you don't talk too much.
Okay.
And I'm seeing that coming up to your left. So how I see generations for people is I see them on levels. So I would see you at the first level, then your parents, and then at the next upper level, and then again grandparents, and then below you would be children. But usually the person I'm reading for is that first level, and then I'll be able to tell. That's how I know what generation it is.
Okay.
Is if they're standing next to you or above you.
Okay.
So they're telling me that your past animals are with you. So do you have like ashes, or are they buried somewhere close to you? Because they're telling me that past pets are with you.
No.
Then them in spirit, have you noticed? Sometimes you feel something like on you, where you feel like something a cat would do, and you're like, oh, that wasn't even the cat. Because I'm seeing that they're with you, like past pets are with you.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at a question and see if that's going to open up any of your energy a little bit.
Okay.
So it's almost as if your energy is like handing me one thing at a time.
Okay.
And I want to be able to see more than just that one thing at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have a question?
Well, let's see. What do you see for my love life?
Well, the first thing that kind of comes forward is that last one had to go. And you're like, you tolerate as much as you could, but he had to go. So there's still some of that kind of remnants there, like, looking for a new love life, but I don't see that that's something, this is not something you're in pursuit of.
Okay.
Because you feel content right now. You're not a person that has to constantly be searching for someone else to make you whole.
Okay.
But I feel some content with you. But I'm also seeing someone close to you. But I'm seeing someone close to you.
Okay. That's good. I like that.
Let me just see. So I'm seeing taller with short hair.
Taller with short hair. Okay.
Yes.
Dark hair? Light hair? No hair? Well, you said hair.
No, hair, but it's a lighter color. It's not like blonde, but it's not black. It's not dark brown. It's a lighter color.
So not blonde, not brown. So gray?
Yeah, like a salt and pepper, or maybe even like some light brown with some silvering. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I'm not seeing a one solid color of hair.
Okay. So salt and pepper.
Yeah, it looks like salt and pepper, but it could be, like some light brown with some silvering in it.
Okay. That's cool.
But it's short, and he's taller.
Taller than me, or just taller like in general?
Taller than you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I get the feeling your energy that you're not real tall.
Okay. For a woman, I guess I'm average.
Well, if I were to guess at a height, I would say below 5'8".
Yes. I am below 5'8".
So because I'm like, again, I'm just looking at you in that space and kind of where you are. So if I had to guess, if you said, sincerely, oh, sorry, I said my name. If you said, Ray, tell me, what is your best understanding or perspective of my height? I would have to say around 5'5".
Okay.
That
That's pretty
5'4",
close.
what I mean?
That's
That
good.
kind of a
Yeah.
thing. And so I'm seeing him taller than that. So I would have to guess about 5'10" to 6 foot, like right around there.
Okay, that's great. A tall, gray-haired, salt-peppered man. Cool.
Yeah, and he likes to golf.
Oh,
He
cool.
also has, he's retired, but he still does some work with a company.
Okay, that's great.
And he's very comfortable financially.
Golfing too. That's cool. There's a lot of golfing around here.
Oh, good. I actually live right next to a golf course, so I get all the golfing I need. I mean, I don't play, but I mean all the golf balls, I should say. I get. Let's see. I also see boating with him, that he owns a boat.
Seriously? That'd be great.
Just want to see. He's got a couple kids that are obviously grown.
Okay, yes. That don't want to raise any babies anymore. Grandkids? Grandkids?
Now, do you have any now? Because I'm seeing one that's close by.
Grandkids?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. No.
Okay, so there's one that's going to be coming. You'll find out by the end of the year.
Wow.
So yeah, grandkids are real close for you, but there's one that's coming soon. Like you'll find out by the end of this year.
Oh, that'd be great.
Trying to see if I can see any more on this guy. I'd like to try to see if I can find some type of location or even a time.
Yeah, time frame would be nice.
He's a guy that doesn't sit still. So be prepared for that. He's not one of these guys that, likes to watch TV and putz around the yard. He's not that guy. He's a guy that likes to travel and be active.
Okay, that'd be fun.
So just be prepared for that. He's not one of those homebodies.
Okay, that's good.
And his health looks really good. So that's not a worry.
Oh, fantastic.
And he's gonna still be friends with his ex.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. They have a good relationship, I hope.
Yeah.
Do you see it? Do you see a time frame?
I'm looking for a time frame. I'm trying to.
I'm just being impatient,
Yeah. Well, he's very active. Like he travels a lot, and it's hard to see how I look. Okay, so this is more information for you.
Okay.
So how I see time. So there's no time on the other side, right? That's here for us in the physical.
Right.
So in order for me to see time, what I do is I look for identifying markers. Like I look for holidays. Christmas, Easter, like that kind of stuff, 4th of July. Like I look, not 4th of July, because sometimes I have clients out of the country. But I look for holidays and I look for weather, which, as you know, weather doesn't always work as well, but the holidays are usually where. But this guy travels a lot. I'm seeing him travel, like different country travel. And so it's making it a little bit harder for me to see. Because the United Arab Emirates is coming up, and I'm getting some like Caribbean travel. Like I'm seeing him in this really beautiful boat, and traveling a lot. So trying to get him in one spot. You know what I mean? So I can kind of look what's
Yeah.
there.
Check him out. Give me a name. Zero in on him.
Let's see. I'll try. It's gonna focus on time here.
Like in the next year, by Christmas, you know.
Yeah, I'm seeing by Christmas of next year.
Oh, 2021.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I'm seeing it like summer or spring of next year.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
kind of a
I mean,
lockdown.
not-
It makes it difficult right now.
Yeah, yes, it does.
So the United Arab Emirates comes into this somehow in the Caribbean?
Yeah, the Caribbean. So these are places that he's traveled to or that he's gone. So it's something like that. Even though he's retired, he's still involved with this business. And so he will, I don't know how, like he's retired and he doesn't go to work all the time, but he's still involved with it.
Fantastic.
So he's one of the upper tiers of that company.
Oh, okay.
So it's getting really hard for me to narrow it down, but by Christmas of next year, it's hard to see. Actually with the COVID and everything, it has changed everyone's energy.
Oh yeah,
And it's changed
bet.
the energy of the earth. It's been crazy. Okay, so that's the information on him. As far as names, the only thing I'm getting close is like Alex or Alexander. But again, I want to let you know that I'm not sure if that's his name or, I mean, he has a boat. It could be the name was Boat. Just be aware of
Alex.
It may not be his name.
Alex or
Alexander.
Alexander. Okay, so it's
Alex
something that, okay, Alexander. You know what I do want to ask about my grandparents. Can you see anything? You're a medium as well, so are you seeing anything for my grandparents?
I haven't come into your space yet, but because I read energy, what I'll do is if someone is to ask about someone, I'll have them say their full name, and that will pull their energy into theirs.
Oh, okay.
And
so
then I'll be able to look easier.
Okay, so if I say my grandfather's name, hopefully he'll come into this conversation.
Right. Okay, so we'll start with your grandfather. What's his name?
Frank John Gerbic.
Frank John
Gerbic. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Usually they jump right in. Hang on. Okay, so I have to stand up for this to explain because he is a large man. He's not one of these small guys. He's big. He's like 6 foot and strong. Was a very hard worker in his life. And I see he's showing me these hands are these massive hands, like these huge hands, but they're working man's hands with the calluses and all these things. Does this make sense to you? Are you identifying?
Oh, maybe.
Okay, so this is what I'm seeing. Is that he's I just see like this. I don't even know how to describe it. All I can think of is this working man with these, the broad shoulders and the thick hands that are so muscular. And he was a quiet person. He didn't do a lot of talking and stuff like that. But when he did, you listened. Everyone listened. He was a no nonsense person. And not no nonsense as in just a jerk, just as in like, this is the right way to do it. Let's do it that way. And, this is how it's done. Do it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no nonsense as in no playing around. Like we don't do things that are good enough. It has to be done correctly. And breakfast is coming in with him also. Breakfast. He likes a good breakfast, eggs and sausage and that kind of hearty breakfast.
He likes those eggs, huh? I got it. Good for calcium.
Yeah, good for calcium. So this is what he's showing me.
Okay.
Images. What did you want to know? Did you want to ask him anything? Or?
I'd like to know, you know, how he feels about our relationship and how, you know, just anything he wants to tell me.
So he's telling me that you guys ate popcorn when you were little. He's bringing that in. He's also bringing that you would stay over. So what he's doing is he's bringing in these memories of things that you did.
Oh, okay.
Together.
Uh-huh.
Because he's saying this is what our relationship was. Because you guys almost had like your own little language between the two of you. Like you could just look at each other and knew each other what was thinking.
Oh, that's great.
You know, and you guys would also you'd kind of be up to something. You know what I mean? Like it'd just be two of you like, hey, you know what I mean? Like you would have these little things you'd be up to. You had really an amazing relationship. And you feel like he understood you much better than your own father.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Where's the dog? Did he have a dog? I'm seeing a dog around him.
No.
This is a dog like the size of a black lab. Like that size of a dog. Not a little dog, not a huge dog, but just that kind of, but it's coming through the space with him.
Maybe when he was little and I didn't know about it.
That could be. And so your grandma wore an apron.
Yeah, my grandmother, both sets of grandmothers wore aprons. Yep.
Because he's showing me the apron, and he's saying that she could cook, although he said he didn't always appreciate it because the roast was dry.
Oh.
So did they have a garden? Because I'm seeing fresh produce around your grandmother.
Yeah.
And he liked to fish. Because I'm
Fishing?
seeing a rowboat.
A rowboat, okay.
Just going out fishing. But he just keeps showing me these really beautiful images of the time that the two of you spent together. Because even though you had other siblings, you were the one. You were the favorite, the one that spent more time with him. And he didn't love anybody more than anybody else. He said you guys had more time together because you valued his time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you see him on the ocean, like fishing on the ocean, deep sea fishing, or just like?
I saw a small boat, like one that you would paddle. I didn't see a big boat. I saw a small boat. But he keeps showing me these really lovely images of you and him and just the time spent together. And sometimes you would be coloring. You know, he'd be watching the news and you'd be, you know, writing and drawing at something. But he really wants to emphasize that the relationship with you was not only was it beautiful and wonderful, but the other siblings didn't really, they're like, oh, you know, they're old, I want to go over their stuff to do kind of thing. But you really valued that time with them.
Okay.
All right, let's see your.
How about you shift to, like, unless you see something else important from Frank, how do you also see like what's going on in the world? Like, can you tell us when we think we might be with a vaccine, or are we going to even need a vaccine? Or do you see that kind of stuff?
Sometimes. So because I read energy, what I go through, obviously other people's energy and what I can see, whether it may or may not connect to them. But just an example, in April, I did a reading for a man in Pennsylvania, and he asked me what is coming up. And I told him, excuse my English, but in May, I said, stay inside because it's about to go down. Like all hell's going to break loose. It's about to go down.
In his life or in general?
In May. I said in general. In May for everybody.
Oh, like for everybody.
For everybody. I said, yeah, May is going to be really bad. And I said, all I see is people and chaos, but I don't know where it's oriented from. Like, I don't know where the origin is coming from or what's happened. And then, you know, May was kind of going by just dealing with COVID. And then when all the riots hit, he called me. He said, hey, I thought about what you said, because this was, and that was the identifying thing. So that's just an example of, like, I could see the chaos and I could see all this bad stuff that's going to happen, but I couldn't identify where it was because it wasn't connected to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it's just general chaos.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I can kind of look and I may be able to tell you something that's there, but if I'm not able to see, what's orienting it or what's causing it. So ask your question again, will you please?
Well, what do we foresee this pandemic? Are we going to see a vaccine? Are we going to see it
There
January?
will be a vaccine, but it won't be as soon as they're anticipating. I'm not saying it till the end of the year.
The end of this year?
The end of this year, yep.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'd go for that.
I know they were saying that it would be sooner, but I'm not saying it hit the general public in mass production until the end of this year.
Okay. And it'll be effective, kind of, we're going to be through this, and 2021 will be like a normal year?
Yeah, things will definitely be getting better toward the end of this year. I'm seeing more like September, October, where things are going to start getting back to normal, quote unquote normal. We're not going to see life as we did before COVID.
Uh-huh.
The plexiglass will be everywhere, and it will stay that way.
Okay.
It will always be everywhere. But it's also going to change the dynamic of how people interact. I keep saying with us having to stay away from each other, things will get along better, and it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't happen. So unfortunately, because that is what's occurring, people still aren't able to get along well. I don't see the socialization back until probably the end of next year. Like, I don't see people letting their guard down at least by summer of next year.
2021. Okay.
2021, yeah. Because people are still going to, throughout the beginning of next year, still going to be like, okay, is this person infected? Because right now it's who's infected, who isn't, we don't know. And so even though there'll be a vaccine, people are still going to keep a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely see that through the beginning of next year.
Okay.
So I am seeing a big upset for Florida, politically. I'm seeing a big upset for them. Let's see. Can we narrow it down a little bit? Because I'm
well, how do you see for well, I don't know, everything's of interest to me. Can you look at the general for the United States, or do we need to go more state-wise?
Well, let me take a look. So that was the general as far as like COVID goes.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on a second. I'm seeing something really weird, like around the end of this year. Hang on a second. So what I'm seeing, maybe you can help me understand this a little bit. So what I'm seeing is the end of November
of this year. Mm-hmm.
Of this year, before Christmas, and a lot of what I'm seeing is related to this, like the shopping, the Black Friday stuff, and all this. But I'm seeing it's almost as if, because stores are going to be limiting how many people are allowed in even then.
Oh, okay. Black Friday is probably going to be very different from what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, it's going to be very different, but what I'm seeing is going to be much more organized. Like, it's going to be some stores, like the more upscale stores that are more private, they're going to be taking appointments for people to come in and shop. Like, oh, you can book a time here.
Mm-hmm.
And other ones, a lot of the large chain stores like Walmart, Target, those kinds of things, they'll be doing the same thing they did when COVID was in the beginning, where everything was, you only limited to so many people in the store. So there'll be a lot of long lines with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing more unrest with people. I'm seeing it in the north of the Midwest and on the West Coast mostly. And I'm seeing more of these riots and more of these protests and those kinds of things. But again, I'm saying in north of the Midwest, so like Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, like that area, I'm seeing.
Okay.
And then Oregon and California, where they're going to have another one of these riots, protests, like what we just had with this other thing.
Yeah, it's been
That's going on.
horrible. It's just horrible.
Yeah, I live right outside of Portland, and they brought the military in last week.
That made me want to cry. I can't even imagine. It's just horrible.
It's crazy. It's like a war zone.
Do you see a change in government this in November and like a peaceful transformation of power in January? Can you see that kind of stuff?
Let me take
Because that
a
would be
look.
interesting to know.
Yeah, let me see.
When you say take a look, can I ask you, are you using like a pendulum or are you using some kind of aid?
I'm sorry, I should have explained that. I don't use any tools.
Okay.
I don't use cards or a pendulum or anything like that. I literally just go through energy.
Okay, so it's like you meditate or something, you kind of get this concentrate?
Not even really. It's just like I'm looking into, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's almost like I'm looking into a different part of my brain. It's weird. Like when people, I do their readings in person, when they look at me, like they'll tell me like, wow, it looks so interesting to see you work. And sometimes they say that my eyes move really fast as I'm looking around at things. And like one of the things that I'll do when I'm reading in person is I put my hand on their wrist. So my complete palm will be like on the top of their wrist, and it gives me an immediate connection to their energy. And there have been times, like there was one time I was reading for a girl, and as soon as I put my hand on her wrist, I yanked it back because it felt like I was touching a stove. And I'm like, did you just burn your hand recently while you're cooking? And she was wearing a long sleeve, and she pulled up her sleeve on her other arm, and she had a small burn on her forearm. She was, yesterday.
Oh, wow. So
it's with in person, I get immediate connection if I can hold on to their wrist, because I can literally, connect with their energy. On the phone, like I said, it takes a couple minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But when I say let me look, I'm looking at that map again. So remember how I said about I'm looking at a map?
Right.
And that's sort of like the roadmap of, I guess, your life or like your experience, that kind of a thing. But for the political stuff, I have to, I tend to avoid politics actually, because
but do you see, but do you feel like a change is coming in that we're going to have because I totally understand not telling me who's going to be president or whatever, but it seems like there would be a huge, if we keep the same administration we have right now, or if it's like going to be a huge shift in change.
Yeah.
That would be.
If I can see anything. Because as we're talking, his heart is failing. Like I'm seeing that the walls of his heart are becoming very thin.
Ooh. Okay.
And if he goes another presidency, I'm not sure he would survive it, to be honest.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Because I'm seeing his heart, from the stress levels and all this stuff, the man has a temper. And so as our temper raises and we get really excited about things, it stresses our heart out. Yeah,
I could see that. I'm sure that would be a very stressful job.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But if Trump wins, he may not survive it. Let's put it that way. Because his heart is very problematic right now. And, with proper care and rest, it could be fine. But I'm seeing a serious issue with his heart. Let me just look at the presidency and see if I can see. I still see a lot of fighting between houses.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me.
And as I look further out, I'm seeing that continuing probably to the end of time. Like it's really going to be a thing. And unfortunately, that's clearly not going to cause a lot of problems for the rest of the country. who's the lady that knows everything or thinks she knows everything? That keeps doing these, gosh, is it Pelosi, right? Pelosi? Yeah, Pelosi. Pelosi, right? She's in the, I don't know, is she
Nancy
I can't think of
Pelosi?
what her title is. Yeah,
She's the Speaker of the House.
that's it. Thank you. But there's going to be a big outing on her because right now she's kind of the person who wants to put the spotlight on everyone else. And there's going to be a big outing on her in the next, what do they call it, the 4 years, the next presidential term?
Another election?
No, it'll be after the election. It'll be in the presidential term. So within the next 4 years of the next presidential term, there's going to be a big outing and she's going to be out. Like, she's doing a lot of shady stuff, but people aren't looking because she's distracting so much by accusing others.
Okay.
But she'll be found out. So Nancy Pelosi, and it looks like about 2 years, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Is that there's going to be a big thing around her about all this stuff, and it's going to be exposed.
Okay, that's interesting. 2 years.
Yeah. For some reason, I'm getting the Garden State, and that is New Jersey, right? The Garden, yeah. Is she from there?
Nancy Pelosi? I don't know.
I don't know. But that's coming up. As soon as I said that about her outing, I got the Garden State. So that's somehow connected.
So maybe some scandal or something will happen, or maybe they'll vote her out or something. She'll have a
no. It won't be a vote out. Like, she'll be out. Like, it'll be. Yeah, this is not a voting thing. We're like, oh, we don't like Greenmar, we're going to vote for someone else. She's going to get a lot of things she's doing, I guess, busted.
Oh, so she's not
nowadays.
going to die in New Jersey, right? That's not what you're saying.
No, I don't see her dying. What I see is her getting caught with a lot of stuff she's doing that no one knows right now.
Oh, and it's tied to New Jersey.
She's always pointing the finger to someone else and saying, hey, look at this, look at that. But she's distracting from the stuff that she's doing. And those things will be found out in 2 years.
Okay.
And that's when it will be a removal of her. It won't be like a voting out. It'll be a removal of her.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if I can see anything with the presidency. And sometimes I just can't.
Yeah.
So it's just.
So what do you see when you see energy? How do you define energy? Is it like a feeling, or is it like a thing that can be measured, or?
What it feels like is almost like stepping into someone's room. You know what I mean? So if you go to someone's house and if you step into their bedroom, you kind of get that weird feeling like, should I be here? Should I not be here? This is a private place. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, usually you kind of want to step back, right? Like, I don't want to be in here. Like, this is their private. And that's kind of the feeling that I get when I step into someone's energy. It's like, first they're like, okay, let me get my bearings here. And, but it's that, it's hard to explain, but it's that feeling of consciousness. It's like this awareness of it. I've had people like, oh, can you get in the energy of a celebrity? I don't do that. They're private people, same thing. Or I've had people ask, can you talk to a celebrity who's passed? That's not what I do. Like, I'm not going to just go, disrespect their privacy, no matter if they're alive or not, just so you can see what they're doing.
Right. Do you feel like that you get, like, it's, when you say something that you feel like it's, do you have like a scale of how confident you are on, like a scale of 1 to 10 or something or is it just, how sure are you of some things, or can you judge that? Like, sometimes you'll say, oh, I feel that this might be a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10, or other times you might feel like this is a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
If I see it clearly, I'm confident in it.
Okay.
If I see it clearly. If I don't, like with the dog around your granddad, I didn't see it that well. I'm like, okay, I see this dog. I don't know where it is. So like that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know there was a dog there, but I don't know how it connects.
But like when we ate popcorn together, that felt
yeah, because
10
it's almost
out
like
of
he's
10.
showing me parts of a movie. You know how
Okay.
those old films where people would have the reel-to-reel films and the big screen? It's kind of like that. Like he was showing me like little bits of movies, like
Okay.
with the popcorn and with the just how you guys would smile, and he gave me that connected feeling. So when I say that feeling of like being connected, I would literally get the feeling of that happiness that you two shared.
Okay.
The same thing when I first got into your energy, I like felt a lot of tightness in my chest. I was like, okay, like I had to just kind of get that deep breath. And that's why I had to take some deep breaths to kind of relax your energy a little bit. So when it's something that's very clear to me, then I'm absolutely sure.
Okay. And yeah, okay, good.
But like I said, with like when I spoke with a client in April about there's something in May that's going to be like astronomical and it's going to be this chaos and all this stuff. I didn't know that it was rise. I just saw all these people in this chaos. I didn't know what's causing it. So that time it's like sometimes it's like that. Like I know this is here, but I'm not sure how it's connected. I'm not sure what happens to cause that.
Right, gotcha. So Ray, I have some other questions that I want to ask you that are more like
I have one more thing for you. You need
sure.
a new pillow.
Oh.
You need a new pillow.
Okay, I can get myself a new pillow.
Because I'm getting that kind of feeling like where the neck kind of gets sore, but it's like up by your scalp, or not scalp, but the bottom of your head. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The base of your skull.
Right.
Like right there, and where your neck is where I'm getting some of that pain. That's because you need a new pillow.
Okay. You know what? I did want to ask you about my grandmother on my mother's side.
Okay.
Are you getting anything from her? Her name is Myrtle Finley. Do you think maybe you could get like a quick word with her?
You said Myrtle Finley?
Mm-hmm. That was her maiden name.
Okay. All right, let me see if I can connect with her or not. Okay, give me a second.
Sure.
Because I'm feeling a strong energy, but I'm not seeing her yet, so I'm not connected with. Not sure it's connected with her. But she was a tough lady. Is my connection with the right person? She's very tough.
Okay.
Yeah. A strong person. I'm also getting like working on a farm kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she was a very tough person. You know. It kind of reminds my husband said that either my wife will pray for you in a minute, but she'll also shoot you dead. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting with her. Okay. You know, it's just that she had a good, solid heart, but life was very matter of fact. It wasn't emotions. It wasn't, oh, I'm tired, I guess I won't do this. No, it was very matter of fact. This has to get done. This has to get done. This has to get done. She worked very hard. And sometimes that also, she would expect other people to work as hard as her, and no one can convince her that she needs to take a break. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I guess. Seems like it,
so
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, I think so.
So what did you want me to look at specifically?
Does she have any words for me or any guidance or information or anything?
Okay, before I ask that, did they eat rabbit? I'm getting a rabbit connection, and she's saying it was good.
Possibly. I don't know.
Okay, it's just kind of a weird thing for all of a sudden to get that.
That is weird. Okay.
So I know that was because sometimes they'll say things just to validate, you know, hey, you know, this would.
I never had any rabbit with her or anything like that, so I don't know.
Okay, ask your question again. I'm sorry.
Sure. Does she have any advice? Does she have any messages or any kind of insight or anything?
Okay, so the this is one of those things, like, I always am a little bit hesitant to say some things that they say, but she
Go
didn't
ahead.
like the man you had children with.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first thing that she said. So I don't like the man she had children with.
That's fine.
Give me a second. I'm having a hard time with just asking her something directly. I'm not getting a lot of words from her. Like, I got that clear as day. She said that. But then it's like she's working again. Like, I'm seeing like these, it's almost like wooden crates that she's putting produce in and carrying them. It's a weird image that I'm seeing. Not weird, just unusual. I haven't seen it before. But she still keeps like working. And I'm also seeing that she sews, like she would sew like clothes and so. Okay, you want to know if she has any advice?
Advice or memory she wants to share with me, something like that, or I don't even know what I would ask her.
She is bringing up swimming, but it's swimming not in the ocean, swimming in this small, almost like a pond or like a little. It's very small, but it was. So she's bringing that, but I'm seeing you small at the time, like 4, 5, 6, like right on there. Probably not 6, but 4, 5. Yeah, she's another one of those that has like really guarded energy, not guarded, but closed. You know what I mean? She's just so she with her own family, she was on a personal level with them, but other people in general, she didn't talk personal with other people in general.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to get her to say something other than she didn't like the guy you had children with. So no, she is making a reference that one of the children did not start school at the right age. That they should have started school earlier.
One of my children?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if that's a birthday compared to the end of the year type of thing, like a certain date had to be the birthday, or they just started later. But she was making reference to one of them starting later, not when they should have.
Okay.
Did she have a heart problem? I'm having a lot of pain in my chest, and I don't know if that's just from her, or that's why I'm having a hard time getting her to say something. But it's weird though. It's like I don't feel it on the left side. I feel it like right down the center.
No.
Of my chest. I feel like pressure. It almost feels like indigestion. You know how you get like heartburn or something that's real painful? And that's kind of what I'm getting with her, is that feeling. But she's not really saying much. Like, maybe you could ask her, you said a memory? See if she can give a memory, maybe?
Yeah, a memory that she'd like to share with me or something.
I keep getting a farm reference. Does she have a farm?
Oh, yeah.
Live on a farm. Okay. So I keep getting these farm reference. And I'm seeing a donkey. So donkeys I'm always hesitant to mention because a lot of times they're metaphorical for someone that they thought was an ass.
Okay.
So,
I don't know who that would be.
So I'm hoping that this is literal for her. But I'm seeing a donkey. But I'm saying someone who worked on their farm. This wasn't run just by family. I'm saying there were helpers. There were people who worked on the farm, and one actually stayed on the property.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't get anything else. I don't know if she's just not saying anything, or I'm just not seeing it or
Okay.
hearing it. But
Well, Ray, this has been really interesting. If you don't mind, I can ask you a few questions about just like your website and in general information. Just
sure.
okay. So you answered a lot of the questions that I had as you're going about like how you feel energy or what you see as energy, and like I thought you might be using a pendulum or something like that. But so when you reached out to me originally, you kind of said that you know, I felt like you were trying to say that you yourself are a skeptic about people who say they can give readings, and that you were I think you see that there are people within the field of mediumship that are clearly frauds, and that there must be some way of kind of telling them apart. Is that accurate?
Well,
I mean,
you
without
have
naming
much
names.
more experience than I do,
Uh-huh.
And so and that's one of the reasons I like to explain in the beginning about how I see people in the space, because that's how it works for me. And so I don't know how things either do or don't work for other people.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the only thing that I know is that a friend of mine sent me the New York Times article.
Right.
And so that's why I wanted to connect with you, because I got the impression that it was believed that there was no one that possessed any kind of gift or ability. And I was like, let me see if I can connect with it, because when I read the article and the stuff that you were doing, and you had these groups and you put this together on the face, I thought, this is amazing. This is a woman that is like, I want not only, want to stop these people from hurting other people, but I want to understand what they're doing.
Okay.
And so because you put so much thought, so much research and all that, I was like, maybe I can help, or at least I want to at least offer something to your research.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, like I said, like, this is what I see, this is what I feel. And I was really hoping to read for your friend, because then you could just kind of see how it works with someone that, kind of comes in without any expectations. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It would be more open. But yeah, the last email that I sent you,
Uh-huh.
I mentioned that there's an acquaintance that I met here out in Oregon, and he reads cards. And tarot card reading, anyone can do it. You buy a box, you read the book, you flip the cards.
Okay.
And they can pick up on energy. They do. But tarot cards are like a forecast. Like, oh, things are going to be better around this time of year. This, you know what I mean? So it's a forecast of things that are what to come. They're not very specific. They're generally more vague. I'm sure you've had some tarot card readings, sure. Right? So you kind of see the difference with that. But at any rate, this person said, hey, they are doing these, they have these events here, and I'm sure everywhere. But he's like, if you want to share a table with me, that's what it was. He wanted to share a table. I was like, oh, sure. I haven't done that stuff since I was in my 20s. And so I went, and a lot of them trade readings, like when they're not busy. Like if there's not much going on, sure. They'll kind of go around and talk, and they'll trade readings with each other.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And I don't, just because I've been disappointed so much by these readings. And so I'll do their reading, and they're happy and impressed. This is really great. And then they'll do the reading for me, and I'll just be like, okay, thank you. Because nothing connects, nothing validates. Mm-hmm. And so I see these people that come into these fairs, these metaphysical fairs and events and stuff, and a lot of them are looking for hope. They're looking for understanding. They're looking for direction. And so when I see them, it's frustrating, because, I could just had a reading from someone and it was terrible. And now I see people going to them, and they're paying money to not get any information, to get any hope. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
And I have some clients that have seen For sure, the Long Island medium. That one seems pretty common. A lot of clients I've had have gone to her. Actually, a lot, probably about 4 of them. And they're like, this was a disaster, that she makes these vague statements. And I saw one show once. I'm not a TV person or internet person. It's so depressing, and the negative energy is so overwhelming. So forgive me for my lack of knowledge with these things, but I watched one of these shows with this Teresa something,
Mhm.
and I saw as these gallery readings, the same thing with who's another one of my clients went to Chip Coffee. Same thing. They're like, they put out these general things like, oh, I'm getting someone with a J name. Well, yeah, that's the most common letter in American names is J. Of course, you're gonna get someone who knows someone with a J name.
Mhm.
So it's very disappointing to see how they throw these things out and expect you to kind of guess or something, and like, oh, well, you didn't get it, I'm moving on over here. And these people paid outrageous amounts of money for that. And it's just, so that's what intrigued me so much about the article that I read, where you were like, hey, and it talks about, are you aware what article I'm talking about?
Yeah,
New York Times.
New York Times, yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. And that's why I didn't want to come off in the beginning when I first contacted, like, hey, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's why I said, we're on the same side. And if I can contribute to your research or contribute to your experience of, like, this is something that's more legitimate, this is something that's not legitimate, how can we compare them, And just because it's the way that I work and how I see things, it doesn't mean that if they don't see the same way, it's not legitimate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it works for anybody else, if there is anyone else. Because I always tell my husband, I say, it's not fair, because having this gift, I can't do it for myself. And that gets frustrating. So it's not like I can say, hey, should, we move now? It doesn't work for me.
Mhm.
But, I did a reading for someone 3 weeks ago who, in fact, just sent me a text yesterday, because in the reading, I said, hey, you got a raise coming up soon, so that'll be great. He sent me a text yesterday, he goes, oh, that raise you mentioned, it was 30 cents. I'm like, sorry, like, I don't see how much it was. So I really appreciate people kind of give me that feedback, and give me that. And most don't, but the clients I've had for years usually do.
Right. So let me ask you, on your website, you do say that you, not only do you do mediumship, but you do pet, you feel the energy of pets and you can read them, as well as people in comas, or autistic people, or people even who are pregnant. And I'm curious about all that. Would you be able to tell, like, a cat energy from a human energy, or how would you tell the embryo's energy from the mother's energy, or somebody else who's in the room? Or, I mean, how would you differentiate between all those?
So if we look specifically at a pregnant woman and a baby in utero, so the energy is different because they're different people. So the mother's energy generally is calmer and they're more inquisitive. It's almost like when you talk to someone, if they're really interested, their body leans forward, right? Their physical body will lean forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the feel that I get from the mother, is I'm waiting to hear what you're going to say. It's a calmer energy. The baby's energy is much more active.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking a healthy baby here, okay? So their energy is much more active. And also, too, what's interesting is that a lot of times they will tell me what they do or do not like. Like, I've had babies in utero tell me that they don't like the name that they picked up for them. Or they'll say, hey, she's got to stop eating this because it's, hurt my stomach. You know what I mean? Like, they'll tell me, things diet related, or their names, that kind of thing. So the energy is really completely different.
Okay, so you would be able to tell, like a dog energy from a human energy.
If usually my pet readings I do in person with the animal,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm touching them and that kind of thing. But if someone were to ask me, like, hey, my cat's been acting weird, or you know what I mean, because I get a lot of those questions too.
Mm-hmm.
If I know what I'm looking for, then yes. But on the other hand, with that, I had this dog. His name was Buster. Great dog. Had him for 12 years. and we were very close. And I used to always say, it's like he's a human. He's like a human, like he understands stuff, and he had, these, I mean, dogs in general have human emotions anyway, but I kept saying it's like he's a human. And then he was real sick, at the end of his life, and finally had to be put down, put to sleep. But when I saw him come back, he was a person. He had a human spirit. I was like, oh, you're a human spirit, that's why. And he told me, he said that in his multiple lives, he usually chooses an animal because their lifespans are not that long.
Okay.
So if you were to just kind of throw out a name and say, hey, is this, dog, cat, rock, it would be very difficult for me.
Right.
To just be like, oh, this is this,
Yeah, because I was just curious about that. Like, if you were reading for somebody in a coma, how do you know that it's not the doctor who might also be in the room? Well, probably not the doctor, but like the mother or somebody else who's in the room with the coma victim, that you're reading the right person. Or like if a cat was sleeping in the room while you were giving reading to somebody, how do you know? How do you know?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's by identifying what's in their energy. So like the person, if I was reading for a person in a coma, and let's say there's 5 people in the room, the doctor, the nurse, and family members.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm in the room, I have contact with this person. But also too, their energy, like I said, I'll feel their energy. Like I'll feel like what they feel. So I know that that's my identifying. And also too, when they talk to me, or I'll see things in their space, in that white space I told you about, that will be recognizable for them.
Okay. So you would be able to tell. I mean, you wouldn't be accidentally reading the doctor's or something.
Right. It does happen where someone else's energy can blend in. And I had that once. I was doing a private party, and all these ladies were on the table, and they're all sitting next to each other. I'm waiting for this lady, and then all of a sudden I said something. She goes, "Oh wait, that's not me." And then the lady looks at me, she goes, "That's me." And I said, "Okay, could you just move down then?" Like, because they were best friends and they were sitting right next to each other. So I had to actually have them move on the other side of the table. So
physical energy. So this energy that so having him in close physical contact, like moving them across the room what if you have the person who moved to the other side of the room and they have a stronger energy? Isn't it going to still feel like they're right next to them, or maybe blending in again?
Well, no, our energy tends to stay near us. Like, we're not separated from our energy. It's almost as if, let's say we're standing in a big egg, and that's our energy.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it doesn't have a hard shell or, have a border like that, but it emits from you. It's that space. And it can be, if you think visually, it could be like an aura. You know how people's aura is kind of around them like that? Very similar to that concept, to the aura, how it stays, emits from you. The energy is the same way. So now when you see these things on television, and I always try to make this clear when people who are specifically looking for like mediumship and wondering about the difference between ghosts and spirits and stuff like that. So when you see these things on television, these shows where it's the same, they'll say, oh, this ghost keeps doing the same thing over and over again. They keep walking up and down the stairs over and over and over again, right? What that is that's residual energy. Residual energy, how I describe or explain it, is as if a part of a VHS tape is stuck and it kind of keeps going back and moving forward and going back, moving forward. You see that same bit over and over again. So we leave energy on things. Like your keys hold tremendous amounts of energy. If I ever have a hard time getting someone's energy, I'll ask if I can hold on their keys. Or glasses are another one. Because it's constantly with our energy. Our energy is, we're always using them. It's our energy always touching them. So we will leave energy on things. I don't know if you ever bought something from like a thrift store or something like that. And you're like, wow, this, like, I really like it. You might bring it home. You're like, I'm not sure if I like this. You loved it in the store and you got it home and you were alone with the energy. Like it was more prominent than everything else that was in the store. Sometimes it's because there's some residual energy on that. The same thing, anytime there's violence related, energy will stay with that.
Okay. So one of the things that I really wanted to ask is, so, you know, you and I would agree that there are people who probably are claiming to be psychic mediums who are probably doing hot readings where they're reading somebody's Facebook page, like I caught somebody in the New York Times.
Yes.
How can you give me an idea of how somebody may test themselves before, or how the skeptic community, which I belong to, is able to test? I mean, at what point, you know, let's say for yourself, or maybe the tarot reader you mentioned earlier, how can you be sure that you are not cold reading, or you're not, you know, just believing that you're doing this when you know, it's,
You're saying, how do I know?
well, how can we
How
test?
do I know it's real?
How could somebody test themselves? If you had somebody who approached you and said, you know, I'm starting to feel like I'm reading energy, I feel like this. How can you set that person down and advise them and say, look, you may just be hearing your own intuitive thoughts in your head, and because you're good at cold reading, good at observation, lots of feedback, how can you know? How can you advise that person that to test themselves? I mean, how can you test someone to be sure that they're either not fraudulently doing it, or they're not relying on feedback, generalities, or hot reading or cold reading?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And I don't think that there's a specific answer that will work for everyone. For myself, because you can imagine how many times I've doubted myself. It's like, it seems pretty weird. It does. Even though I'm the person doing it, it's like, okay, wait, did I just think that, or did somebody say that? And it makes you question yourself sometimes.
Right.
And what has given me more confidence and what has helped me understand things is, so when people do give me feedback and they say, oh yeah, you know, this happened, and you know, you said this, and that, so that gives me feedback. But what I do then is I think about what I felt at that moment I said that. And that's why it's important, like I said, to be honest, because it allows your energy to be open. But at the same time too, if I'm wrong, then say, okay, it doesn't really resonate with me, let's move on. You know what I mean? Because and so for me, it's getting that validation, and that, yeah, this happened. And so what I do then is I think about what I was feeling at the moment I said that. You know, like, okay, I heard this way, or this I could see. You know, like I see these images. And so I'm like, okay, so then I'm able to connect, you know, kind of sew things together, if you will, and say, okay, I felt this here, so that means this. Like, this is, so they give you symbols. Just, if I can go off on a little tangent here, if this maybe will
Sure,
help.
go ahead.
But I see symbols, and sometimes I'll get new symbols. But there was one I had recently. It was a new symbol for me. I had a woman, she'd called, and it was her first reading. First reading ever. She had never even had a reading, but this was her first reading. And I told her, I said, your father's coming through. I'm seeing a father figure coming through for you. And I said, he's connected with the ocean. She's like, oh no, I couldn't be my father then. She goes, because he didn't even do the ocean. And then he showed me walking out of the ocean onto the land. And I said, oh, he's showing me he's walking out of the ocean onto land. That tells me he's not from here. He came across the ocean to be here. And she says, oh yeah, he's from Malta. And so that's a symbol, you know, like if they're walking on the ocean to land, that means they're not from here, that they came from another country and across the ocean to be here. And so that's why I have to ask, like, I'm seeing this, you know, and so I'll get different, same thing, if I see a crab in someone's energy, it's one of two things. Either they have crab-like tendencies, meaning that they're all tough and strong, but they get their feelings hurt, they go and hide, you know what I mean? Like, or they're a Cancer. That's the only two things that a crab will mean for me. So a lot of times I'll see these sort of symbols for things.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So talking to someone else, I would tell them that they need to test this stuff out. They need to test. And by doing that, I would say, okay, think about going to the supermarket. You're going to go to the supermarket. I want you to think ahead. What will I see there? It's just something. It doesn't matter what it is. Will I see a little girl in a pink dress, or something? And then you go to that store, and that's just a way to kind of look hard for something. You know what I mean? If you're getting that feeling, and go see. So to try it and test it out right away. Because when we do readings, and whether it's tarot card or tarot cards, I have a deck, but I always try to steer people away from them because I don't think they're very informative at all, and to me, I think they're kind of a waste of time. But to someone like they're doing a cold reading or whatever, is find something identifiable, something that you can find out, something that the person can validate. Yes, this is true. Yes, this is consistent. But readings don't always work, or I'm sorry, don't only work with people. So, and so I try to encourage them to, try to do a reading on something that wasn't a person that they could find out.
Well, so like a fact, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at is how would you test someone with something that's factual, like something that is known, like reading somebody who doesn't exist, but saying they do, thinking they are there, or how would you, well, let me ask you this question. What would it take, you said you've even challenged yourself at times, what would it take for you not to get to a point where you think that you probably don't have this ability? Is there anything that would probably do that to you?
There isn't anything that would convince me that I didn't, just because my first remembrance of doing this was when I was age 3, when my little sister died. So I've been doing it all this time, but over the years, especially young, part of me was like, am I imagining this? Does this? And so I would do tests to myself, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, like one time I was walking into a department store, and I had to park kind of far away. And I'm like, okay, so there's going to be a red car that's going to drive in front of the building right when I get there. And so I walk into the parking lot, no cars. I mean, there's no cars driving around or anything. And I was like, okay, so maybe I was wrong. And just as I start to cross, this red car kind of comes out of nowhere. And I'm like, wow, they could have slowed down a little bit. So it's those kinds of things, like I'm checking, like, am I making this up? Am I imagining it?
Well, in the skeptic world, in the world that I've been involved with for a long time, and I mean, I don't want to invalidate your experiences. What we would say if somebody was to tell me that story is that, well, for number one, we remember our hits, we forget the misses. So if the red car had not shown up, then we would have said to ourselves, oh, well, another time, or we would have forgotten about it. And then later we might have seen a red car, or maybe the first thing that entered my head was a blue car, but then I changed it to red car just really quickly. And then I saw a blue car because I thought that was really my first instinct. And we make adjustments in our mind because we want badly to confirm, especially if you've done it for a very long time. You don't want to say to yourself, well, you mean I've been lying to myself all these years? I mean, that would be really stupid. Who's going to do that? But to be able to be, in my mind, I would love to believe in psychics. Absolutely would adore it. But I need something more than just, that I have a garden. I need, and it would need,
that's why
and if I'm not,
if you could get someone else to do a reading, and that's why, because you had so much experience and kind of what you do in the group and stuff like that, that's why I was like, I wanted to read the other person first, because I don't think they'd have a lot of expectation of like, this is what I'm looking for, this is not what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Like someone who would just be open and do an actual like full-on reading where you could observe, like, okay, she's saying this, and then you're able to watch the person's face in front of you, and be like, okay, is it resonating with them? Is it not? You know what I mean?
Well, what about having something set up, like, or not even set up, but okay, so I'm watching somebody's face and you're talking about gardens, you're talking about eggs, you're talking about other things, father issues or whatever. Those are kind of vague things. How, I mean, wouldn't you be able to tell something that's gravity, something that we know, something that's like, does a father,
so I mean, there are times when I'll do readings and I'll actually feel what the person felt when they passed or when they died.
Right.
And those are physical things. And then the people will say, hey, yeah, that they died from this. But it all depends on what they show me. And that's why I like to emphasize I'm reading energy here. These are things that are in your energy. These are experiences that you have. And so to put on like, okay, we want to do a test. You know, there was someone showed me a long time. There's a guy who's, I think is a well-known, I don't remember his name, but he's a fraud who goes around pretending to expose frauds. You know what I mean? Like one of those. And his way of doing a test to see if someone had a psychic ability is he had like 20 envelopes lined up on a table, and they all had photographs in. And he's like, there's one dead person's photograph, everyone else is live. And he told the guy, he's like, now find the dead person's photograph. And I'm dying when I watch this because that's not how the ability works. You know, you're not going to get energy from 20 envelopes on a table. You know, I mean, that's...
Are you talking about James Randi?
What is it?
James Randi?
Is he the old guy that with the suicide attempt? Is that the one?
Suicide
He's
attempt?
old and has a beard. Yeah, he's... Because a friend of mine sent me this link, I think it was on YouTube, about the envelope test. And then he did a TED Talks where he like downs an entire bottle of sleepy pills in front of the entire audience.
Yeah, that was James Randi.
Okay, and I'm like, how is no one not calling 911? Because he's clearly suicidal.
No, he's taking homeopathy.
Yeah, just crazy stuff.
But homeopathy is just water, so he wasn't going to kill himself because he took a whole bottle. I've done it. It's.
Oh, so it was water that he was taking?
No, you're taking homeopathy, which is water, sugar pills. So if he's taking homeopathy, it's like taking nothing. I mean, I've done it lots of times.
Sugar pills.
Yeah, that wasn't a real suicide.
Okay. Yeah, so he made out to be something different, but at any rate, that makes more sense than if he's just taking sugar pills.
It's just homeopathy. So let me just clear that up, because you don't do a lot of like internet stuff, but James Randi and a lot of other places who test. I know you your email was accidentally forwarded to the Center for Inquiry's investigation group first, and I know they apologized and said, "So sorry, Susan, the email was supposed to go to you, and then it went to us. We thought that Ray was going to try to do a psychic challenge." And when somebody does say that they want to be tested for the paranormal challenges, and there's groups all over the world that do this, in Australia, and is not only in the United States. The group I mentioned has a $250,000, $250,000 challenge. What they do is they write a protocol with the person who's making the claim. So they would say to you, they would say, just for example, Ray, they would say, "Ray, what can you do that can be tested, that we can test?" And in the case of the envelopes, the person said, "I can tell from a photograph if a person is alive or dead." And they say, with what percentage can you tell? I mean, how many, if we gave you 10 photographs, would you be able to tell all 10 if they're alive or dead? And the person will, say, "Yes, I can do 10. And they'll say, "And what barriers would you have?" I mean, if the photograph was in an envelope, such as this manila envelope, would you still be able to read the person if they're dead or alive from the photograph?
Oh, so you're saying that was what they said they could do.
Right. So when you see these
then
tests,
I clearly missed that part.
right?
I just saw the part with the
It probably wouldn't have worked for you, because that's not how you do stuff. But so what they do is when they set up these protocols, they say, "What can you do?" And it's all signed off and agreed on way in advance. They say, "Okay, so, they'll ask them beforehand, are you feeling confident? Are you feeling this?" Sometimes we've set up tests where people have, the picture has to be black and white. The picture cannot have a person with a beard. The person has to be male. We've done other kinds of tests like that where the person says, "I can, with 100% confidence or 95% confidence, I can look at a photograph," or they can look at it, or they can feel it through touch through a manila envelope. So they're all really carefully designed to be with what the person claims that they can do, because in the skeptic community, we're really we have to find a way of testing. We can't just take somebody's word on it. We have to say, what is it you can do, with what reliability, and what
how can we ensure that this isn't just chance? How can we
Right.
ensure that this is within your stated abilities? Like a person says they can use a sticks and they can walk towards water that's hidden underneath something. Okay, well, that's called dowsing. Right. So if you can do that, we know that people give cues and feedback. So if we put the water under if you know the water's there, then you're going to find the water. But if you have 10 waters and they're all covered up so you can't see, how accurate are you going to be to find that one that has water? And then we'll test it beforehand to say, okay, can you find the water when you know that the water is there? We'll say, here's the water. Do you feel it? And they're like, yes, I feel the water. Okay, are you comfortable going forward with this test? And they say, yes. So, I mean, in your case, if you're not interested in you said you don't want notoriety, you're comfortable with your life, you're happy. So, I mean, it's just, to me, I find this all very fascinating, how a psychic medium such as yourself, who says you're skeptic, how you get there, and how you said that you don't think there's anything that could be said to you or to show that you're not accurate, or that this isn't real.
So if you were to say, hey, since you're Ray, I'm sorry, I'm clearly screwing that up. If you said to me, like, what can we do? If I were to say, if you want to test or see, how legitimate it is, what I would say is for myself, because again, things work differently for people, and I certainly cannot judge what someone else may or may not be able to do. Mm-hmm. But for me, if you said, hey, sit at this table, we're going to bring in 10 strangers and want you to do readings on all of them, and we'll see if you're accurate on all 10 of them. And they would need to be in person readings. No, they wouldn't have to be in person. I'm just saying that because I deal with energy, to say here, 10 boxes, which one holds a diamond, I won't be able to do that. Okay. Because I don't. That's fair. I don't see physical stuff. I solely go through energy. How about, like, you said that you could feel keys hold a lot of energy. So if you were to take, maybe, I'm just throwing this out there, like if you took 10 sets of keys and we had and you were to pick them up one at a time, could you take that set of keys and say, this keys belong to this person, this set of keys belong to that person? Maybe the person would be... No, I wouldn't be able to, because I would have to feel the person's energy and the energy on the keys. I couldn't just pick up the keys and hand them to the right person. I would have to feel their energy and see where the energy matches. Oh, but if there was 10 people and you could, like, go up to them and whatever it is you need to do to feel their energy, and then you also had a box with, or a table with 10 sets of keys on them, could you go up and, like, feel that person's energy, like stand in front of them and feel energy on them, and then go to all 10, and then go over to the table and then feel the energy on the keys? And you could even have in the protocol that maybe they had to carry the keys with them for an hour before or something, so they really had a strong... Interesting. And could you match their keys to the human being? And there would have to be some, like, kind of code on the keys so that, we weren't fooling around or, trying to trick you or anything like that. But it would, because that seems like that's a testable claim, because the odds would be not only 1 in 10, it would be 10 out of 10. What is that, 1,000? I don't know. Somebody would have to do the odds for me. But that's a test. And I know there are organizations who will do this. And I mean, if you don't want the fame, that's fine. You can remain anonymous. And if you don't want the money, that's fine. You could give the money to a charity. But there are legitimate groups out there who really, that's how they would do it. They would facilitate it in that way. I've never done that before. I've never done, like that kind of a setup. Right. But like I said, I've done readings where, if I was at an event and did 20 readings in a day and they're all accurate, that's because I'm dealing directly with their energy. But to deal with an inanimate object like that, because it is harder to read energy on an object, because it isn't movable energy, and that's why I'll use that as a backup. Like, if I'm having a hard time, say someone will come to me and say, hey, my child is really struggling and I don't know how to help them, that kind of thing. And if I can't get into their energy because their child's trying to hide something or whatever, then I'll say, okay, let me see if I can get into energy through this.
Right.
But I've never like tried to, match an energy.
Well,
I've been to
that's how we would think in the skeptic community, because giving readings to someone and feeling like you're getting validation from them, that's an old, I mean, we could go on that all day long, because again, it's a matter of opinion of the person who's being read, and then there's the vagueness of a lot of readings, and on and on and on. We would say that's nice, but what can you do that we can validate, and we can, how do I say it, where there's strict protocols. Like I said, you would determine what you want. You would say, okay, I'm just using keys again. I mean, it could be something else. It could be like they have to hold the keys on them for an hour, or maybe a day. Maybe it's a bracelet. Maybe they have to bring a ring or a bracelet that they have to wear for 24 hours a day for a week. And then when they get to this testing protocol kind of thing, you could say, I need to actually be within their, like, independently with the person for 5 minutes, just to feel their energy, just them and I sitting across from each other, maybe holding their hands, or you get to decide. As long as the skeptics have that kind of in writing and say, this is what Ray says she can do. She says if the person holds the bracelet for 24 hours on their wrist, and then they sit down and they hold the person's hand for 5 minutes, she feels with 80% confidence that she will be able to match the bracelet that's now sitting on the table with the person that wore it for a full day. And that is where we get into something where we feel like there's something there, because just giving a reading to somebody is, I could do that. I mean,
I see what you're saying.
Because it's a lot of generalities. It's all over the place, and it just sounds like cold reading, to be honest with you. And cold reading is, we've been doing that for years. I know all about cold reading, and that's.
Yeah, it's too bad that your friend couldn't come. I mean, if you have someone else that could,
But again, it would be the same kind of
the
thing.
same thing, sure.
Right. I would look at my friend's face, and I could watch my friend nod yes or no, but I could ask her at the end. I could say, hey, how was that? And she goes, well, some things were right and some things were wrong. But again, that doesn't give us anywhere to go from that.
Everyone wants to understand what's happening.
Right. And we're humans. We like to connect to each other. We don't want to make people feel bad and say, well, you got it wrong. But, you want to.
If I look at the key scenario, so if we were just hanging out and we're like, hey, could this be done? Can you do this?
Sure.
What I would just consider is, let's say we have 5 sets of keys. What I would do is I would do a little mini reading on each set and write down the details. What I feel from the energy of the person.
That's an idea. Could you tell, like, if it was a male who owned it or a female who owned it, or maybe
possibly? I mean, I don't.
Well, try it.
Like that, so
Ray, I think you should try it.
I
think you should try it. Try figuring out what it is that maybe you can do using inanimate objects. Maybe, like I said, a bracelet or a ring, photometry. I can't think what it's called all of a sudden at the top of my head. But if you feel like you get a boost of, helps connect even more with the energy, then it seems like that would be testable. And if so, I mean, you could be the person who sets physics on its head and says, look, you can talk to the dead. Look, you can do this. This is amazing. And then we would alert CNN, and we'd win the Nobel Prize for physics, and it would be amazing. And the accolades that come in, and the group that tested you would be just like, that would be, trust me, they want you to succeed maybe more than you do, because for us to prove the psychic ability.
I'm very protective. I have no family.
Well, you could do this, but I'm saying
my husband doesn't either. It's literally just me and my husband, our 2 kids. We have absolutely no relatives, and we live on the opposite side of the country. We have no friends here. And so the prospect of people wanting to ask questions and interview me and hey, let's do this in the media is.
It could be done anonymously. Trust me.
Yeah.
It would be done anonymous. You can set up the protocol any way you want, but I suggest kindly that you test yourself and figure out what it is that would, what you think you could do under testable circumstances, and I would also kindly suggest what it is that would convince you that you are not on this track. What could be done, or what could be proven to you? And until you've gotten to that part in your life, then I don't think you're at the far end of your ability, because lots of people are intuitive. Lots of people are really good at relating to people. You are obviously a very personable, very, I feel a lot of love and kindness and wanting to help people. And I bet your clients love being around you and love actually connecting to you. You have a lot of that, I don't want to say energy. You have that. You can tell you relate. You good listener, and empathy, yeah, and intuitiveness. And at a certain point, I would have to say that's just you being a good human. And how do we get from Ray being a really good human, a good listener, and get you to the point of that this is a thing, or just you're a great counselor and you're probably really good at giving advice and really good at listening to people and telling them, you know, that guy you're with, he's probably not the best thing for you, you know, and you know, like a wise aunt or a grandmother would be. I
give very specific information to people in readings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I mentioned, someone I gave a reading to recently, a month ago or whatever, about his raise coming, and he sent me a text yesterday. So there are things I give very specific information on, and those are the things that value. Same thing. One thing that is very common for people as they're wanting to connect with someone who's passed, I tell them exactly what the person was feeling as they passed. Like one time I was reading for someone and he asked, like, is it possible to connect with my dad? And then, he said his name, and, I was able to get the energy. And he kept showing me, he's like, I can't pick my legs. I can't pick my legs. And then I felt a lot of pressure on my abdomen, a lot of pressure on my chest. And I know what that meant. I said, I don't know what this means, but this is what I'm feeling. He goes, yeah. He goes, he drowned. And because of the clothes he was wearing, he couldn't move because he's wearing this heavy thing, because he wasn't supposed to be swimming. He had fell off the boat. So it's those kind of specific things that are like, okay, those are the things that, like, yes, this is, what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling and hearing, these are the things that are accurate.
Right. But Ray, I would not call that specific, to be honest with you. That would be not specific, because when you're dying, well, first off, we don't know exactly what they're experiencing because they're dying. But as you die, you're going to experience lots of different things, sensations of maybe your heart rate elevates, or maybe your breathing slows down, or maybe there's just so much going on in the death part.
And I felt an impact to the chest, and there were shots in the chest.
Okay, well, there could be a shot. That could be a heart attack. That could be,
impact to the chest.
Well, an impact could be a gunshot, or as well, it could be a stroke or a heart attack. And one of the most common disease.
You feel it much more different. It does not feel the same.
If you said there was a shot to if there was a sudden impact to your chest. I've never had a stroke. I've never had a heart attack, but I would assume that it would be a sharp pain to the chest.
Kind of. When I'm feeling someone, like if they have heart trouble or stuff like that, I'll actually feel it in the left shoulder, on the arm, and the left side of the chest. But more so, it feels very painful on the shoulder and the arm. So it's a little bit different, but anyway, I see what you're saying as far as try to test like physical. If
you could find something, that would be really interesting. I would be fascinated to see if you came up with something and were able to.
I like the key idea. I think that's something
whatever's comfortable to you.
Residual.
You could even have, like I said, a bracelet, so that there was no way of telling that the keys, maybe look more masculine because they're, I don't know, somebody's key ring might have a Playboy bunny thing on it or something, and it kind of makes you feel like it goes to this guy over here who looks kind of,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think I would, if I were to do something like that, or maybe to even test, because I'm interested in that, to see if that's something that would be a challenge to do. But what I would do personally is I would do a reading on each of the set of the keys first. I'd have a little piece of paper. Okay. This is what I'm getting from these keys. This is what I'm getting from these keys. and then
That's fair.
interact with the people's energy.
Yeah, that would
I
be
would do
fair.
the keys first, like a little reading.
That would be fair. And then you would be able to, the whole test would be whatever you feel comfortable with, but matching it up with whoever it is who owns these keys. And of course we'd have to make sure that, like I said, there was a number or something, some kind of tag on the keys, because you don't want the person to say, no, those aren't my keys, when actually they were their keys, because we would have to be fair to you. So it'd have to be some way of matching, you know.
I mean, you could always take a quick photo of the person with their keys, just hold them up. Okay,
Very
these
good.
are my keys.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, you
then
bet.
You have someone you can match it later.
Yeah. And again, this is all for, you know, the idea, even if you don't ever want to come forward with your name or anything like that, this is still fascinating for research. And if,
right.
You know, if we had more people who were willing to go this far and as you're doing, you know, very open with your ideas and very willing to understand and listen to what I'm saying, that, you know, just based on the years I've been doing this, but this would be fascinating for the world of the skeptic community to be able to maybe go beyond that. But, you know, obviously there's a lot of misunderstandings, because I mean, just the James Randi homeopathy challenge that the suicide challenge he's doing, that, I mean, that's just, it's just like he's taking candy, you know. It's, you know, in my world we're like, no, of course he's not committing suicide. In your world you're going, that guy's committing suicide.
Well, I mean,
It's a misunderstanding.
That's why I like, okay. But now that you say, oh, he was just taking sugar pills.
Yeah, he was just taking sugar pills. Yeah. But Ray, I really appreciate you talking to me today. This has been very interesting. Give me, you know, think about what I said, and you know, be in touch.
Yeah, I definitely am interested in this key concept of that. That would be very interesting to do. So I'm gonna, like I said, we're not from here, and I don't know too many people here, but I'm gonna see if I can, you know, find someone who can help me with that, or just say, hey, you know, let's, because I don't know 5 people here, so I can be like, hey, let's throw your keys in.
Yeah, I do. I hear your accent. I can tell you're not from Oregon. Yeah, I can definitely tell.
I've had to pull it in quite a bit because I have 2 small children, and they started talking with a Brooklyn accent. And
I love it. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have an accent too, even though I've never lived anywhere near where my accent's from, because I picked it up from family members. But yeah, people, and that's a cold reading tactic. Somebody might hear my accent and be familiar with it and go, oh, so you're from the South, you know? And you're like, no, I am not from the South, but my mom was. So that's definitely where you're getting that from. But it's a cold reading thing. They might say, oh, you're not from the South, but your mom must have been, you know, it's just cold reading. But Ray,
it looks like Rudy Giuliani. He's first born Italian, but he has an Irish accent because he grew up in an Irish neighborhood. Okay. And most people out of New York don't know that, just because, Rudy Giuliani is from there and stuff. But that's just like you said, you have a Southern accent. You're not from the South, but he has an Irish accent, and he's definitely not Irish. Right. All right. Well, Ray, I really look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. You're welcome. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. Bye-bye now. Okay. And we're done with that. So you guys, I have got to pee really bad. Sorry. I'm going to pause this recording so I can go pee, and then let's talk. Okay. So go get yourself something to drink or whatever. I'm sorry this is taking forever. I'm going to pause this long enough, but I'm going to keep the live feed open. I'll be right back. Okay. So, I'd like to talk about it maybe for 10, 15 minutes. If anybody wants to come into the Zoom room because they want to say something, that's fine, but you have to be aware that I am recording this and it will go up on our YouTube channel, and I want you to be nice. Let me get the Zoom link, and my stomach's starting to growl, so we won't go on long, even though that was interesting. So here's the link to if you want to come into Zoom and talk about what just happened. I made some notes, and thank you guys for staying with me. That was a long event. I thought she was going to read for about 30 minutes. And then originally I was going to say she was going to read my friend, and then I took my friend out. And here comes, we have Sweden showing up first. And
Hey, Pontus from the ESP, the real ESP. Bum, bum.
Yeah, hello. Hey, son, hey, son.
He was there the whole time. I think if anybody else wants to join, that's fine too. Let me turn up the volume. So let's see if a couple more people joined. That was.
But this was really, really interesting. And I know I put some.
There's a lot of great comments in there, and I could not follow everything because.
No, I know I was mocking this person quite a lot, but I do think that she is a good-hearted person. She's just very misguided, and she's trying to do something good. And I respect what she did, and she did. Well, there was a lot of things, of course, that we can, as skeptics, will see through as just cold reading and stuff. But I think she was very sincere.
Boy, she was very sincere, and this is why I didn't want to trick her. And I was going to. I had it all set up so that I was going to have somebody else be read that was obviously not for her to read. I was going to have her read my cat, to be honest with you. But since she couldn't see what was going on, she'd be reading my cat. And that would have been a giveaway. But I wanted to see how she went. She didn't want to be tricked. She didn't want to have anything happen to her that was... so you guys are all live on Facebook, by the way, and as well as being recorded for this Go to YouTube channel. If anybody ever gets through all 3 hours. But what'd you guys all think? I've got 5 of you here.
That was great.
You really liked it, huh?
You were great, Susan.
Oh, well, thank you. I didn't have you here to tell me I'm great. I just want to hear some.
You have diplomacy skills, Susan.
Maybe I should get into the government, huh? Well, I felt with this woman that she was really a sincere believer, and
Skills, Susan.
oh, stop, Robin, or whoever's got their audio on.
I felt with this woman that she was really
I guess that you, Wendy?
their believer.
Here, I'll mute Wendy for the moment. Yeah, you got to turn it off when you're on the live thing, because otherwise you're just going to hit reverb.
Thank you. You were awesome. You were completely terrific. You were so calm, and you were not intimidating to her. She whatever she wanted, and I know that I mean, like it was happening to us where we could hear all the holes and all of her claims, and you didn't. You were calm. You did not react. You didn't give her any feedback.
Yeah, she was on the phone. She couldn't see anything. I felt really awful by doing a live feed. You guys are just watching me. I was trying to use facial expressions and things because it's got to be boring. And then I was goofing around a little bit, and then Richard Saunders says, "You probably shouldn't goof around." I'm like, "Yeah, you're probably right. I shouldn't." But I just, an hour and a half of this, somebody just.
But you weren't even saying yes or no. You were just going, okay, and that was. That foiled whatever cold reading she might have been able to do just from a phone conversation. I don't know if I could have done it.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be a good lawyer, Susan, because lawyers love to control the conversation and sort of let you talk yourself into your own grave.
Susan,
You'd be great at taking depositions.
Susan, do you think that being able to act out a little bit for the camera to make it less boring for us made it easier for you to keep your reactions out of your voice? Because you did a great job of that.
You think so?
He's right.
I don't think so. I think I probably overemphasized. Here comes Richard Saunders. I think I gave away a lot more knowing that you guys were watching and I could see. I felt like my friends were here hanging out with me. So if I had just done that on the phone with somebody, I think I'd be even more like, I don't.
Well, you were great either way.
Well, thanks. It doesn't feel like I did really anything because I was just listening to a person tell me these things that were overwhelmingly wrong. over and over and over and over.
Right, and you didn't
over.
react at all, which is
I know, the whole
hard to
thing about
do.
your relationships with your grandfathers.
I've never met a single grandparent. They've all been dead before I was born. I was trying not to say, I was saying, do you know of any memories they want to share with me? Not like memories we had together. I know Kevin was saying in the comments, he's like, say something about you guys having a relationship or something like that. I'm thinking, no, that would be a lie. I was just trying to say, what can you tell me about my grandfather? Which I would adore to hear about my grandparents. Oh my gosh, I've never had a grandparent that I've known. I have a step grandmother that I sort of knew, but my grandfather died in 1936, right? 1938, 1939. The other one died in 1951. Another one died in 61. Another one died in 22. I was born in 62, and she had nothing right. The only thing she said, that there's a
Your
cat in
cat?
my life.
Yeah. It's like how
I have a
unusual
cat.
that is.
And she had this thing about a cat and tea. And that's why I said could have easily been a hot read, because there's a picture or a video that I just recently did I think it was with Janice. I had a cup of tea and it had all these cats across it. And I said, I said, Janice, you go ahead and tell us about facilitated communication while I finish drinking this cup of tea in this cup that Paula gave me, and it had cats around it. And that
was that when you said you had a sign saying hot reading? Was that?
Yeah, I said that was a very recent.
That was
thing.
hot reading.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a very, very
Possibly.
recent thing. She could have found, like, on my Facebook feed a few minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big.
It would be
a deal.
easy to jump to that conclusion. Sometimes you just have to think, well, maybe it was just one of these random things she threw out that you
And
could find.
I'm making the connection.
Yeah.
I made the connection.
Cats are very common in most people's
Cat, and
lives.
so is gardening.
Oh yeah, and gardening. That
And
she was
gardening.
right on that. I have
Flowers and
plants.
cat. Hey,
There's a cat.
skeptical cat.
There's a
Right.
cat.
There you go.
So
She thinks you're into cooking.
Is that more?
oh, that was
or
hilarious.
That
I could
was
see you guys all
hilarious.
giggling when it got to the cooking. I hate cooking.
That's Henrietta.
Yeah, you're-
Oh, sorry. I had 50-50 chance. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's beautiful.
Paula just said on Facebook, have you warned Mark that you're destined to leave him for a golfer with light but not blonde hair who has a boat, who's been in the United Emirates and the Caribbean, who's sort of working for a company but's not, and I'll meet him by the end of the year, and something to do with Alex.
Yeah, and the ocean.
In the ocean. And I thought, was she referring to one of these scams, these sweetheart scams? Or my poor kids don't know that I'm going to have news of being a grandmother in the end of the year.
But I think we could all tell as the reading went along that what she was doing was just pausing, so you could then fill in lots of gaps for her and then continue down a wonderful reading. And that's what she would get probably every time she does readings for people. Because in a normal conversation, regardless, when you pause for a reply from the person you're talking to, you carry on the conversation.
Right,
So
because
that would have
silences
been
are
new to
awkward
her.
and you want to fill in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Celestia. Hey,
Celestia,
Celestia.
hi.
That's
Hi,
strange. That's
Celestia.
strange. Dun, 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 dun.
So did she know beforehand, Susan, that you were not going to be reactive, or did that come as a surprise to her?
No, she didn't. She told me that. I said, let's do it over Zoom, and then we'll broadcast it live on Facebook. That's what I told her. And she says, no, I don't do Facebook, and I don't know what Zoom is. And then I said, because if so, then she would have gotten feedback from me, because of course I'd be having a nod or something, But over the phone, she said it's going to be over the phone. And I told her, I said, I'm fine with that as long as I can record. And as you heard at the very beginning, she goes, did you already hit record? And I wanted to make sure that was on the video, that she said it was okay to record. She didn't know it was live, but I don't think that's a big deal. But I mean, because she couldn't see, and I didn't give her name or website at all anyway. So
We have no idea who she is.
yeah, you don't, and you wouldn't know who she is. She's got a website, but I've never heard of her, and it was not somebody that we would know. she, you know, I was going to ask her, Robin, if she expected feedback from me, but she didn't. I don't see how she would have gotten feedback from me on a phone call unless she did ask me a few times what question, because I told her at the beginning, I have some questions for you. But the questions I had were like, you know, what about energy? How would you test yourself? How do you know when you're, what would it take for you not to believe? Those are the questions I had for her. Not how would she tell a cat from a dog or a cat from a human? And I didn't have any questions about my family. So she did pause several times and say, so what questions do you have for me? And I thought, oh, well, I'd like to know about my love life. You know, I don't know. I just threw that out there. Or how about I would really love to hear from my grandfather. And I thought, this would be great.
She's interesting because that character, what she represents, is repeated all around the world. I've met her many, many times in Australia under different faces and names and everything, but it's essentially the same sort of person who doesn't know what energy means, who's been completely...
That was fascinating. Celestia has a question or a comment, or she's just having a problem with her finger right now.
Finger in there.
I wasn't going to join the Zoom, but you guys pulled me away from making a cherry pie. So
cherry pie!
Can we have some?
I had a whole bunch of fresh
Do
cherries.
you have enough for everybody?
While I was pitting the cherries, I was listening to you.
Oh, okay. Were you watching too?
Yeah, I was watching earlier, and it occurs to me, and I'm going to throw out an offer of free labor here.
As long as you don't throw up, that's fine.
No, there were so many moments where I just saw the flow chart, a cartoon flow chart, if you will, just expand as, you know, because later on you were like, well, what's your confidence level? And she's like, well, there are certain things I'm not really confident on, like your grandfather having a dog. And she was confident at the time. She was like, I'm seeing a dog with him, like a big dog. It's like a black lab. It's like the size of it. She had details and she seemed confident, but then you were like, no, I didn't have a dog. You did give some feedback. You did in your voice, in your tone. There was absolutely markers that
you kind of feel sorry for her, and you kind of have to do something, you know. That's what Pontus was saying, I think, earlier in the chat. Because I would break down and probably give her some information or something just out of pity.
But she had so many little choices, little flow chart choices that she made. If you want to write this up, I know you're doing this whole thing as a recording, but if you want to write something up for SI or anywhere really, I could, especially with the way that you can publish online where it's an endless just down column. You can do a column that's like 10 feet long. I could do a series of illustrations that make it like a flow chart for what happens with the psychic.
I'd like that. How about
do you have a cat? I'm sensing a cat near you.
Maybe we take like 5 minutes. How about like 5 minutes of the reading? Because I can't imagine somebody want to go through the whole thing. But
either 5 or 10 minutes of it, or even just the main ideas of it. I mean, I would have to watch the whole thing again and make a series of notes.
That would be interesting. I would love that. But then
it would allow somebody,
I'd love that.
One of the problems with people getting to this stuff, you even saw this with her. She's like, oh, that guy who tried to commit suicide on the TED Talk and blah, blah, blah. She's not absorbing. She's just getting the bare surface minimum of skeptical research about her own field. Mm-hmm. So if we could present something quick and easy, like a cartoon flow chart, you can literally see the boxes as it goes down. It would make it easier for people to read if they want to see, this is a typical psychic reading, and this is from the...
I thought that was typical. It did feel typical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, with the along the way as the reading went further and further, you could see her starting to blame Susan more and more.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't feel that at all. I didn't feel it at all, but I saw you guys writing that in the comments of the Facebook page, and I kept thinking, she's blaming me. I didn't even notice it.
Well,
it was very subtle.
Very subtle.
She was definitely.
Like how? Give an example.
Your energy isn't open.
Something like that. Would have to go back and listen to it and reread it or whatever. But she has to do it because this is probably the first time this has ever happened to her.
Where she's been challenged.
You know, I've seen this so many times, and this is what we all do. Our brain will look for a reason. Yeah. So she probably knows it works. When it's not working, it's because Susan's being the problem here, not me.
It was actually, to be honest, it was Susan being the problem, because I know you had to really fight. Even if you know what you had to struggle not to confirm what she was saying, because that's our instinct. We want to
I
do
didn't.
that.
I didn't feel like it. I just felt like, okay.
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
really feel like I was struggling with it. If
I
she
was-
had
Susan,
seen
have
me in
you ever-
person, it'd be harder.
A
Susan,
classic.
have you
Really
ever seen
brilliant that you
someone? Have you ever seen someone be cold readed?
Oh
Cold
yeah, of
red.
course.
And
You give
no-
feedback.
right.
If just in
And-
nodding your head or smiling or
Well, and usually it's much more obvious feedback. When they get something wrong, the person being read goes, "Oh no, that's wrong." And or
Exactly.
when it's right, they go, "Oh, that's amazing."
Mhm. Oh yeah,
Did
I've
none
seen
of that.
In
The hits and the
The Wizard
misses.
of Oz, when Dorothy goes to see Professor Marvel and he looks in his crystal ball, it's classic because she keeps giving him all this feedback. Oh yeah, that's my Annie M. Blah blah
Right.
blah.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant that you were able to hold it together to explain to her about the homeopathic overdose and about Randy and the envelopes, or I guess it was Banachek.
I don't know who it was, but I just said it was Randy. I think it was Randy did do a TED talk with homeopathy.
Right.
I know
Yes, he
that.
did.
And
Yeah.
that
She
was
might have
all.
mixed it with
There
the
was a
envelopes.
flurry of those a couple of years ago.
Banachek and Jamie Inswiss did one in New York about 6-7 years ago, which is on YouTube, where there was a series of envelopes of living and dead people. So she
Yeah,
may
it
have
was-
got those two
yeah.
confused. But
Oh
Randy,
look, Robin's doing the dishes. Can you
Okay.
come and do my laundry? Come
Sure.
and do my laundry for me. Obviously, I hate doing laundry.
Randy did
Oh,
the.
that was hilarious.
I'm gonna make
I
my
just
the
put laundry
laundry.
out, and I just was sorting it just before I did the call. I love doing laundry.
I hate laundry.
Well, laundry I like.
Obviously, you don't know yourself.
I've got a folding machine. I've got a clothes folding machine. It's great.
How does that work?
You put the T-shirt on, you go fold, 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 and it's a perfectly folded T-shirt.
Oh my God.
Oh, I
Kenny
want
hasn't
one.
said anything. I want to hear Kenny.
Is that something you could put as a patron reward or something? You'll send one of those to us if you.
From all
Patreon.
No.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
hear what Kenny said. Come on,
Oh,
Kenny.
yeah.
I don't have much input, honestly.
Humans aren't real. You don't have any input, Mr.
Well,
Humans aren't
well,
real.
I mean, I can comment on a few things. I didn't listen to the reading because I got in late.
Yeah.
I actually asked if anyone, if the psychic mentioned that I was going to be late because I really,
He
I
did.
really wanted to be there.
She didn't know it was live.
I was recording another podcast at the time, but I couldn't do it. But when you mentioned something about feedback, and I don't know if anyone else mentioned this, but even being over the phone, your breathing can be feedback.
Yep.
Oh, that's true.
Because you can hear, if they're listening intently, they can hear you breathing. And if you stop breathing because you pause, like, that's an indication to them. That's an affirmative. Like, holy shit, you got something right.
Or my cat just walked and scratched me.
Well, at some point, she wasn't sure you were breathing because she asked you to breathe.
To
very
breathe,
specifically.
yeah.
Can
Well,
you please
I think
breathe for me?
She's trying to refocus.
Wow.
Deep
Yeah.
breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I took my deep breaths. You guys saw me take my deep breaths. I took my
Yes,
deep
you
breaths.
did.
I did what I was told.
And that,
Jill-
I mean, to me, that's an indication that she's relying on that.
Well, Jill was saying that she felt that the woman was naive, and that's kind of how I felt, and that's why I
Yeah.
didn't go in the attack. I mean,
Yeah,
if this is somebody who was up
I-
on the
I agree.
stage, I would have been all over them, up and down and sideways. You notice she never asked me how she
nice.
did. Hmm?
You were extremely nice.
Yes.
Susan,
And
For a
firm.
woman who
I'd
just
like to-
got told that she doesn't do her laundry, I thought you were very held back.
Well, of
Well-
course she's nice. She has to live with Mark.
Think about
Love
it.
you,
it
Mark.
is-
You're gonna
She
meet a
said at the very
traveler in
beginning.
great health who hates to be a homebody.
Oh, I was like, what? The thing she said at the very beginning that wouldn't be the most accurate, I thought was, she said, I'm generally very kind, but I don't take crap from anybody. And I thought, well, maybe
That's spot on.
That's called the Rainbow Rouge in cold reading.
it was
It's
a
when
little
you
of
give
everything.
somebody-
What was the cat
Uh,
with the witch? The cat name with like a witch. What in the world was that all about? A cat with a little small witch hat?
who knows?
That's
I-
known as
Wait.
throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing
Yes.
what sticks.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, that
That's
was,
what it
I was really, and I was searching in my head to come up with an answer for her too. I was like, I'm thinking of my
See,
cat's names, thinking, could they have been named after a witch and I'm not aware of it? Imogen, Ariadne, Hamilton. None
See,
of
you were
those
even trying
fit.
to find a way to make it fit. With all your background, you still succumb.
Well,
They still do.
I was still trying. I'm a
Yeah,
human.
you
I want to
still
relate to
do.
this very nice person. Oh, look, Pontus
Oh,
has
here we
got
What
a
a
go.
nice
kitty.
kitty.
Here we
Does
go.
your kitty have a witch's name?
It's called Elvira.
Is your
probably,
cat
isn't
named
it?
after a witch, Pontus?
Oh, his name is Elvis. So,
Elvis.
well,
That's a witch
Close
yeah.
name.
No, he doesn't leave the building. That's why. Yeah.
Oh, but
Aw.
and the idea.
Susan?
Okay, when she said basement, and I'm in.
Well, she
What
was talking
that
about me.
on?
I'm in
that's right,
I'm in
you
my
do have a
basement. Yeah,
But
I'm
I
in my
thought to
basement
myself,
now.
that's the lowest. That's like.
The
I don't
lowest.
think this woman has been in Oregon long, because I'm in California. There
You
is
don't have-
no basements.
I don't have basements in California or Nevada. The
No,
keys-
but the east parts of California.
Oh yeah,
That's
common.
what specifically.
Oh yeah,
what she's
yeah,
talking
East
about.
Coast.
So
I
Leonard lives,
Probably
doesn't
not.
Leonard live near you, and he just said he's in his basement.
That's right. It was me. She was channeling me through you.
Oh, okay.
well,
And
then she
I
got a
grew up
problem
in a
if she
house
can
with
see
a
my
basement,
Facebook friends.
but and in that neighborhood over near Griffith Park, there are houses. All the houses have basements.
Really?
Otherwise, the houses in the San Fernando Valley are all built on slabs. So, but yeah, they exist, but they're only like in certain developments.
Well, it is possible. I have a friend that told me that she was raised in a house in Salinas near me and had a basement. But it is, I don't even know if I've been in 5 different basements in my entire life. I've probably spent more time in Leonard's basement than any basement I've ever heard of. It's just, we just don't.
How is it that Leonard has a basement?
He's got a huge, massive house. It sucks. It's just makes me sick. You can
I
put
have
my
a
whole
basement.
house inside of one
Well,
floor
you
of
can-
his house.
You can see the view.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I look at this. I'm in my basement right now. So.
Are you really? You know,
But
it's
I'm not
not-
in California though.
Well, yeah, it's
Susan,
just not a common thing out here to have a basement.
I was surprised she didn't take that basement thing and go the route of the symbolic, well, it could be a basement. It could just be like a secret room or a room that the other kids.
Yeah, I
can
thought I
go
was
to.
surprised too
Right.
she didn't go that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she started there, but didn't go.
She tried.
What is the word that she used? It was a
Metaphorical.
symbolic basement or
Yeah. Or it could have been a metaphor.
Yeah.
And I was
metaphoric.
waiting for her to go that way. I did say that I didn't say if I had a basement or not. All I said is, yeah, basements can be I think some basements can be really creepy.
Yeah.
I think I watched a mystery the other day that had a basement in it. I think.
Hey, Susan, I'd like to take the opportunity now, since I've got a little group of skeptics and podcasters here. I want to do a quick report for the Skeptic Zone about this
Oh.
very thing.
Okay, you
Robert-
guys, put your best smiles on. He's going to record us.
Yeah, it's
Robin,
going to
I-
be audio only. So.
If you wouldn't mind putting yourself on mute, Robin, or stopping the dishes just for a sec, I'd appreciate that.
I'm on my phone, so I don't know how to do it.
Hey, just stop for a second.
I'll just leave. It's okay. I'll
No,
just take
don't
off.
leave.
No, no,
Bye.
don't leave.
She'll be on
All right.
Facebook. She can see us on
Oh,
Facebook.
there you go. Quick now, Richard, before the rest of us leave as well.
Well, folks, I've just had a very interesting experience. I've been sitting here in Sydney, Australia, drinking my coffee, and oh, hello. I'm seeing all sorts of crazy things on my screen. I've got a screen full of skeptics via Zoom, headed up by Susan Gerbic from Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia. We've got Pontus Berkman from the European Skeptics Podcast. There's Celestia Ward. We've got Kenny Biddle, Leonard, and Wendy, and the list goes on. Susan Gerbic, we just all eavesdropped on a psychic reading that you had over the phone. How do you think it went?
I think she was a very naive, nice psychic who said she was a skeptic, and I think it was fascinating, but it felt like a normal reading. I didn't feel like this was anything unusual.
I think that was the impression people around the world were watching. Pontus, what did you think about it?
I think if it was anything unusual, it was Susan's reactions, because Susan was very careful not to give any feedback and confirm and lead the psychic. And that made it, obvious that there was nothing happening unless if you don't feed the psychic, nothing is really happening.
Yeah, that was my impression too. And you had a lot of people with me eavesdropping in on the thing. Celestia Ward from Squaring the Strange, you were eavesdropping in too, weren't you?
Yes, and I was drawn to it because she had so many markers of the standard psychic pattern that wasn't necessarily like, I'm going to be a purposeful fraud. You could see her fooling herself at every stage. She had symbolic misrepresentation where I'm seeing an animal. Oh, well, the rabbit might not really symbolize a real rabbit. It could be just something else. There were so many perfect little typical, it's not a bad thing that this was a typical reading. I mean, it would have been great if it was like, if we suddenly discovered a real psychic through this phone call. But in its typicality, it was very revealing. This is a standard tour.
And the rest of the people who are watching, Leonard and Wendy. Well, Leonard, what was your impressions?
I thought Susan did a spectacular job of not helping the psychic. She was not rude, not nasty. She wasn't silent, but her reactions were incredibly devoid of meaning. The psychic would say something, and Susan would say, okay, not yes, not no, not you got it right, not you got it wrong, but okay.
Well, that's interesting, or words to that effect. Yes, I thought you did it very well indeed, Susan.
I thought Susan was very poised, and she was in control of herself and her own reactions. If it had been me, I have a lot of reasons for secretly, I'm a hardcore skeptic, and I secretly wish I could communicate with somebody who's died.
Oh yeah.
And I'm afraid even in the, like in the midst of an experiment, I would break up. I wouldn't be able to control my own reactions. I thought Susan was spectacular, but boy, the psychics, the tricks that woman was employing, whether it was just something that she learned or by experience or wishing to be a good psychic and learning all the cold reading tricks, she was good at what she was doing too.
She was, and I think if it was anybody else, she would have probably had a flying reason. Kenny Biddle, can I ask you? You are yet to watch the whole thing yourself, but have you had much experiences of observing psychic readings along your adventures?
Absolutely. I've learned a lot. I can credit Mark Edward and Susan for a lot of the stuff that I've learned over the years because of the psychic stings that I've been involved with Susan and Mark. But I regularly attend psychic fairs and sit with sometimes dozens of psychics in one day. And I've learned over the years to do exactly what Susan does, curb my emotions. I am aware of my facial expressions. I'm aware of my head and make sure I do not nod up and down or side to side. I engaged the psychic. I usually say okay rather than yes or no. I just accept that what they're saying, I acknowledge it. That's pretty much it. And I have found that within, if I do like a 15 to 20 minute reading, it usually only lasts about 5 minutes. Because
you're not giving feedback.
Yeah.
I'd
feedback.
If I was a psychic, I'd kick you out too. I'd be like, I'm not getting anything. Next person.
Usually that's what happens. Half the time I get my money back. They actually give me my money back and tell me to go away. But yeah, it usually ends within 5 minutes because I don't give any feedback. And I think, Richard, I think you said it. As long as you don't feed the psychic, you don't get it. They can't read you.
They come up to dead ends all over the place. Susan, this was a fascinating hour for all of us to observe. Will this be
2 hours?
2 hours.
2.5 hours now we're at. Oh my gosh. It's all going to be on my YouTube channel, About Time Presents. So if somebody wants to watch the full 2.5 hours, you're more than welcome to.
Well, look, folks, I'll put a link to that in this week's show notes. And if you've got the time, why don't you eavesdrop like the rest of us did live? You can eavesdrop sort of post the event. And it's a fascinating study in what we can call with air quotes, a real psychic reading. So everybody who's allowed me to commandeer your Zoom meeting, Susan, thank you very much. And I look forward to the next one.
Thank you, Richard.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Richard.
We're clear.
We're out. Thanks, guys. That'll be on the show.
Yeah, that was great.
Woohoo! I made it twice on a show. Yes.
The very ending, I want to make sure that you guys were okay with what I was trying to go with her. Is I was trying to get her to self-reflect on her claims of the paranormal.
Very hard.
And that was where I was really trying to say, hey, have you tested yourself, and what would you consider a test?
Yeah.
And here goes another IIGer. How, I felt like she really, the question I was trying to get her to answer was, have you...
Well, folks, I've just had a very interesting experience. I've been sitting here and...
What would it take for you to find that you really do not have this ability? And her answer was very illuminating, that she would never not believe she had this power.
She was very honest about that. Well, nothing, because I had an experience when I was 3, and that'll convince me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It was as illuminating as it was unsurprising.
Susan,
Agreed.
Susan, can I get in for a minute?
Sure.
Lou Hellman, I am the challenge coordinator for IIG, or CFIIG now.
CFIIG, come on now. I'm having a struggle.
All right.
You got to get it. You got to practice it in the mirror a bunch of times.
Yeah, I got to do that. And it's kind of my fault that this thing went the way it did, because Paul Fidalgo from CFI sent me the link, or the message, when he should have sent it to Susan. I responded to her asking her to challenge, if she wanted to take the challenge, and she thought we were going to set her up, and that we were going to set up some challenge that that nobody could possibly pass. And
She was totally clueless on how this would work. I think at the end it was illuminating whenever I don't know where it came from, the idea of keys, because she said she could hold somebody's keys and tell the energy.
I got a better idea. Get 5 couples, 2 men, no, 5 women who are married, related, whatever. Separate them and let her read each of them in different rooms, and then put them together.
That would work. But as I kept telling her, it's up to you. You set the protocol. It's agreed to by the group that's testing you.
Exactly right. But that way, she was saying she feels energy when she grabs your hand. So that would be, there it is. That's what she does. So if you would like to invite her to come back, I will try to work with her.
Okay, I did tell her to think about it, to really consider it. I would be happy to talk with her about it further, and we'll see what she does. I have a feeling, I don't know. I really don't know, leaving it now, if we're going to hear from her again, or if that was it, or...
Well, look, I would almost bet you would never get to a testing stage with her. I've seen this again and again.
Yeah, they tend to... But it was an interesting thought process for her. I hope I put a flea in her ear.
You will probably...
Oh, look, she's got a pie!
Wow, it's last.
Oh, man, that's
wait, now,
wonderful.
Will that pie go through Zoom?
It's not
He's only doing
3.14, and that's the only pie you can have from Zoom.
He's doing that
Do you
because he
know
knows
that,
that's not quite over.
She did give us some... Go ahead, Cindy.
Oh, I was just going to say that the envelope story about the pictures in the envelopes reminded me of the Robert Moreland, the old IIG, the
guy with the cupping
challenge. Yeah, and because it was Paula and I were the lead investigators on that, and there's a whole story about it on the CFIIG website.
There's also the
video
live from photographs that I wrote up for Skeptical Inquirer that we did over Skype, I think it was, with a gentleman in Macedonia, and he was using a pendulum, but we didn't realize that till right at the end, because at the end we could see his hand moving. But he got 11 out of 20.
I think that I think this woman made several testable claims. She said that at the end of the year we would see a vaccine. Nancy Pelosi's going to be out.
Outed. No, what
In
she
2
mentioned
years'
was
time. 2 years' time.
exposed for
Exposed.
whatever
Oh,
she's.
exposed for her lies or something. 'cause
Yes.
there's
Something to do with New
going
Jersey,
on with
yeah.
that. And something with New Jersey and Nancy Pelosi.
Well,
I
that
never
was
really
all
hear
part of
that.
the
You're gonna
scheme.
become a
Doesn't go to
grandmother.
New Jersey to do shady shit. Really? I mean, everybody goes to New
No,
Jersey to do that.
but the interesting thing is she didn't really know Nancy Pelosi's name
Yeah.
or what state she was from, but she knew something was going to come down.
She did say that Leonard's such a goofball. Look at him.
It's me. I'm the goofball.
It's
Richard is the
Richard.
goofball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She did say that she thought the lady who knows everything is what she called Nancy Pelosi, and I was like, I don't have a clue who you're talking about, lady.
I
That
would
was
have gone, me?
remarkable.
I was like,
That was remarkable.
and then she finally
Yeah,
went
she
to
was-
that.
And she never did understand the homeopathic deal. She still was thinking
No.
that they were real sugar pills
Right.
as opposed to homeopathic.
Yeah, she didn't have.
Richard?
Oh, I was just saying most of the population don't understand the homeopathic.
I like what Celestia said, that Celestia said it right on the nose. She said, the woman, this is her field. If she's a psychic, a medium that talks to pets and people in baby, in the belly and stuff, this is her field, and she knows nothing about her field.
About
Even
the
if she's on the other
skeptical
side.
angle of the field. Yeah.
This is still her world, and
Yeah.
she should, my phrase, do her own due diligence to at least know who the proponents are. What are the skeptics saying? Let's look at that. The basics.
Listen to Mark, who talks about having watched
Yeah.
them and gone and participated and
Mark
found.
was part of them for so
And
many
she
years.
does, and she apparently works entirely alone, and she's got this following, and who knows what they pay her.
I
But
have an idea, Susan.
Oh no! Celestia's got another finger.
You know how she approached you and she's like, well, Susan, I enjoyed the New York Times piece and I see how you've really come across some frauds, but you've never given some time to a real psychic. I think when you write back, you should be like, well, you've kind of glanced at some YouTube videos with Randy, but you've never given some time to a real skeptic.
That's a good point.
And then give her a core curriculum. Say, I want you to take 2 hours of your life. Just like
She
I gave
clearly
2 hours.
has, because she
You
just
gave 2
gave me
hours-
it.
Yeah, you gave 2 hours to her. Tell her to go through. There's a couple of YouTube primers, the TED Talk that Randy gave. When you sit down, I want you to watch these carefully.
Real psychic,
and,
yeah.
and then tell me what you think. And then after that, if she wants to go through the trial, one of the strongest things she said she felt with people's energy was when she put her hand on somebody and the person was burning hot, and she had burned her other hand on the stove that day. Line up 10 people, 5 of them have burn injuries on an arm. Put them in sleeves and see if she can tell which of the 5 have burned.
Can you test,
Celestia,
like Linda
I have-
Rosa's did with the therapeutic touch? Can you even tell if there's a hand there?
I have set up a number of separate tests that send to people to say, if you think you can do this, here's a
Yeah.
simple test, adapt it to yourself. And I never hear back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's normal. That's
I'm
very
sure
good.
of it, yeah.
But then I can get them off the challenge and we can go into the next person who wants $250,000.
Well,
I
I
did
call
mention it
that a
twice.
win.
A quarter
I call
million
that a
dollars.
win. What you have done in those cases, Lou, possibly, is convince them that they couldn't do what they claimed.
It's
And
possible.
in the absence of evidence, I will take the victory.
There was a gentleman on the International Skeptics Forum, which is the successor to the Randy Foundation Forum, who was an engineer who was convinced he could dowse, who we were involved in setting up a rather rigorous protocol for him, which included, because he said he had to, digging holes with a backhoe to be able to put the water in buckets and then covering them with full sheets of plywood. And he said ahead of time that is adequate. It will either work or it won't. And if it doesn't, I will admit that I can't do it. And what do you think happened, Richard?
He probably found fault in the protocol or something else.
No, he said the protocol was fine, but there's something else wrong.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I mean, this is
Cool.
absolutely expected. Yeah.
There was the one where there was a gold leaf for a dowser who
Oh,
couldn't
that
douse
went on
because
forever.
yes, it
Oh
did.
my God, you guys! I was like, cut this guy off already. Jeez.
Well, I had an applicant who claimed to be able to douse gold. He
Okay.
needed at least, I'm trying to remember what the number was, but it worked out to be 23 karat gold. So normal gold jewelry would work.
24.
Needed
Yeah.
to have 24 karat gold, a gold bullion or coin or something.
Right.
And we had spent more than a year going back and forth trying to get a good protocol. We got a protocol that he said would work, that we were all confident would be unlikely for him to be able to cheat. I said, okay, try it on yourself. A week later, I get an email back. You're right. I can't do it. Thanks.
Really? That's
Ooh,
that's
amazing.
unusual,
I didn't
yeah.
think you'd get an email
Yeah.
back.
That's very
That's why I
unusual.
mentioned it.
We had one recently, as soon as with all the publicity came out, of a gentleman said he could do this, that, or the other, but he needed us to give him a castle and the $250,000 first. And I wrote back and I said, thank you for a very amusing submission. And of course, closed it.
There was a test
And-
that Mark did with the IIG a long time ago. It was one of my, I wasn't around at this one because, I live like 7 hours away. But Mark picked a guy up at the airport.
Oops, no.
And the man wanted to know if Mark had the check. And Mark's like, I don't have a check for you. And the guy's, well, I'm hoping you guys are going to give me the money right away. And he's like, this is the preliminary. You have to win this before you can go to the next one. We'd have to set it up. It's going to be days before we'd even be able to do that if you pass this one. And the guy, Mark's like, we made that very clear to you. And the guy's like, well, I really need the money because I got to be able to get back home.
I remember that.
Mark's like, he's like, I got to pay for a hotel room while I'm here. I need that money. I think it was $100,000 at the time. I need that money. Mark's like, oh, dear,
That's
this
the
place in my
next
car.
tickets back home.
I don't know what ended up happening with it, but it was the idea that even when it's clearly put out to these people, they still don't hear you or understand.
No, people, they only hear what they want to hear, I think.
It was really it's an interesting experiment. Maybe somebody's going to do a PhD on this exact, us talking about it right now.
Unthinkable optimism.
It was
Yeah.
nice.
Well,
And
I don't see how anyone could watch Randy's homeopathy demonstration and mistake it for a suicide attempt.
That
There was
blew me away.
nothing unclear.
They don't understand because they don't
Yeah.
understand homeopathy.
But there was
Watch
no, but
all of
he clearly explained it.
Yeah.
And there was absolutely no possibility that it could be misrepresented on its face.
Guys,
Have to
I gotta
be
run. Thank you,
overwhelmed.
Susan.
Bye, Celestia.
Take care,
Bye,
Celestia.
I'll be over for pie
Celestia.
later.
Send
some
an
great
email
art.
to IIG, to CFIIG.
I need to be really, really. Oh, there. Richard's got some homeopathy. I have some too, actually, somewhere. I think it's just the bottle I kept. But I
Oh,
need to
yeah.
be really clear before. Oh, there you go, Brower. I have
Got
to be
it.
really clear
Artificial medicine.
that this is what she got right and what she got wrong because I was taking notes.
And you were not, I wanted you to tell her that.
And
Or
she
you
never
would-
asked. She did
Well,
not
you
ask.
could-
I thought
you
that
could
was really
email.
interesting. She didn't
Susan,
say how to go.
You
Sorry,
could
I've
email.
got to go because I'm on a Cosmo Quest panel in a little while and I just have to do some prep. So thank you, everybody.
Okay, bye, Richard.
you.
Thanks for
Richard.
hanging
Sure,
out.
it was a fun day.
Bye-bye.
Okay, yeah, I got to go here real soon too because I haven't eaten and it's now
You need to
4:45.
eat.
And
4:45.
I
Yes.
had breakfast hours and hours ago. But anyway, I need to get it on video that what she got right, what she got wrong, So most of it's just general stuff, obviously eat more eggs. That's good for, calcium levels, whatever.
Lots about eggs. Yeah.
Lots about eggs. Yeah. I'm fine with laundry. I like doing laundry. I just took a load out of the laundry and I was going to fold it before we started. I like the smell of laundry. I love laundromats. We don't have a laundromat, but I love hanging out at laundromats. I like the fluorescent light, the smell, and the people. I love all that. I have a garden. I love planting flowers. I adore plants and gardens, but she couldn't see me. It was a phone thing, so she couldn't see that I had plants for my house and a garden. But that's kind of a general thing. I think most people like flowers. I mean, it takes somebody like Jay Diamond who would say, I hate flowers, because he really doesn't like flowers. Sorry, Jay, just telling you. The teacup with a cat was a hit. It could have been a hot reading, because I just did a video with a cat cup and I just mentioned that it was a cup of tea that I was having with a cat. So that could have been a hot reading, or as you guys said, it could have been throwing spaghetti at the wall, and I made the connection. The love interest, no, I'm devoted to Mark Edward. I'm not looking for anybody else, especially somebody who has a boat, who is in the United Arab Emirates, who's got still connected with she definitely was not talking about Mark, because he is taller than I am, which is odd for her to say considering she guessed I was about 5'5". I'm 5'4", and that was odd for her to say he's probably taller than you, because most men are taller than
But that's average. 5'5" is a good average guess.
yeah, it is a good average guess, and the idea that my man that I would be with would be taller than me is pretty generic. And she said he was 5'10", 6 foot, and Mark's like 5'.
And he's not. He's
like 5'7", 5'8".
He's average size.
Yeah, he's an average age. So if she was thinking of somebody other than Mark that's going to move into my life by the end of the year, she's wrong. Way wrong.
He'd be lucky to stay around, right?
And there is no way in this world I'm going to have a grandchild or an announcement of a grandchild by the end of the year. I really doubt I'm getting grandchildren, and to have somebody all of a sudden tell me I'm getting a grandchild by the end of the year, that's ridiculous. The idea that I'm near the ocean.
That's it. The grandfather things were the weirdest.
Hurry up, Sterling. Hurry up, Sterling. You guys all get on him now. And and the grandfather stuff, I was trying to be very careful to say, I'd love to hear from my grandfather. And she says, well, you have to say his name and he will come through. So I gave his first, middle, and last name. And I wish she had gotten something, but I am the youngest child of a youngest child. My grandfather, Frank John Gerbic, was born in 1864. Abraham Lincoln was alive when my grandfather was born in Slovenia. He came over in 1890s. I've been doing my genealogy, which would make it so much easier to do my genealogy if I could just ask them, talk to my grandfather. And I don't want to hear about a dog. I want to hear why did he come from Slovenia? What day did he arrive? Because I can't find your immigration. I want to know, did you come with any? I want to know details, okay? I don't want to hear about your dog.
I want to know if he was left-handed.
Nobody had a Labrador.
Yeah, he did not have a dog. So for me to have known my grandfather, who died in 1939, who was born in 1864, is ridiculous. And for me to be sharing a bowl of popcorn with him is utterly ridiculous.
I just put a thing in the chat with my email.
Okay.
If you want to,
I got your email. I got your email.
I know you do, but some don't.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Kenny Biddle doesn't.
How do you know?
Email right now. But the idea that, and then I said, let's just switch this up and go to my grandmother, Myrtle Finley. Tell me anything about her. She died in 1922, which I didn't tell her that. My mom died. Actually, I think she died in 1925. But my mom was like 2 or 3 years old. The woman died of tuberculosis. My mom barely has a memory of this woman. And so for her to know that this grandmother of mine didn't like the man I had children with, which is not a stretch, because she knows I'm single. And she knows the psychic did know I had children, and because I said so, and she did know that I was single, or I said I wanted to know about my love life. So obviously I'm not with the father of those children anymore.
You did not say you were single.
No, I didn't, but I did ask about my love life.
Correct.
So I wouldn't have asked about my love life if I was still married to the father of my children.
You could have
And
asked.
notice she never said anything more specific than the man you had kids with. The fact that you had kids
That was
true. She doesn't
implies
know
that
I
there
was
was
married.
one.
catch.
She
Because
doesn't
So
know I
that
was
was a very
married.
awkward.
there's nothing, no information in there.
Mhm.
That's true. That's true. That
Yeah.
very good. You picked up on that.
She
So
Good catch.
she
That
did
was a
a
very
really
awkward
good job
phrasing.
of letting us fill in the details for what she never actually said.
right, and it's obvious
a
if I'm not with the
classic
person anymore,
good
I'm
reading
probably
trick.
not happy with them. So for my grandmother to not be happy with the man I made, now she could from beyond the grave be not happy
Exactly.
with the man.
Boy, I
So
bet
that's
she-
why I asked her again. I said, does she have any memories she'd like to share with me? And I believe I'd have to go back and watch it again. Didn't she have some memories of her and I interacting together? I think when I was a very little girl.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but she died in 1925 and I was born in
Well,
1962.
you were not
Well,
born
you've
yet, but
aged
that didn't
very
stop
well.
you.
A little awkward. I
There
think
Well,
was-
they were experiences you had as a child
with her.
before your mind was poisoned and you stopped believing in spirits.
And
Oh,
before you
no.
were born.
That's so sad.
We had a challenger or a person come on to the JREF who had gone to a John Edward, I think it was John Edward, and was a firm believer, and she knew that because her grandfather told her that she had bought a new refrigerator, and that was enough to convince her.
You
Can't
think they
argue
would-
with that.
That goes with Kenny Biddle would say something like, I could hear him saying, I just paid you $100 and you're going to tell me I bought a refrigerator?
Give me my
Can't you give me a
fucking
little
money
bit
back.
more? How about
She
like
went-
when the
she
warranty's
went-
going to expire on it or something? You know, should I
She
get the
went
extended
back and
warranty?
forth. She went back and forth to his shows over and over and over again. We don't know how much she spent. She was absolutely adamant that he was the real deal, and nothing, in fact, analyzing a recording couldn't convince her.
And as I said to this woman at the very end, is there anything that you could hear, learn, experience that would tell you that you do not have this ability?
And she said no.
She said no. Because I saw my little sister whenever I was 3, and her sister is her little sister. So her little sister was 1, 2.
Did she
That's
say her
why you-
sister died? Is
Yeah.
that what I got?
Well, that's what her
why you'll
website
never
says.
test her. She'll
I have a
never
question.
do testing.
Uh-huh.
She'll
Did
never
she-
do anything. She'll probably never contact you again.
I don't know, but I feel like I got a full conversation out of her.
You
I
did.
would
but-
like Susan to respond to her and tell her, look, the IIG or CFIG is willing to work with you to design a test for you that you don't have to share with us. And I will do that. She could write
What
to
I
me.
wanted to know is how I would like, I didn't think of it until now. I would like to, so I couldn't have suggested it earlier. Her definition of psychic and her definition of skeptic, because she
Oh,
self-described.
yeah, she calls herself a skeptic. So how does she define the word skeptic if that was skepticism?
Every technical
Yeah, there wasn't
term
a
she
skeptic
used,
bone in her body.
every technical term she used, she abysmally misused. Skeptic, energy. I mean, her use of the word energy as
Oh,
a
yeah.
physicist just makes my skin crawl.
Even as a non-physicist, it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, but
But
you're,
then
you're one of
again-
these you're one of these science folks, Lou.
And I
so-
wanted to make sure I got in there that this woman will read your embryo.
Yeah.
Tell you what your embryo is experiencing, and your person in coma. She's
Yeah.
happy to tell
The
you.
coma
Did-
thing was creepy.
I
What?
made sure I put that in there. I had it in my
Did you-
notes.
Seriously? She said that? She
Yes.
would-
It's on her
Did you,
website.
did you
And so
see
I asked
anywhere
her-
on her website what her fees were? I
Wow.
did not.
Her what?
What she
Fees.
charges.
No, I did. I was going to ask her how much would this have cost me, but
Yeah, I have no idea.
it was free. But I thought that was odd. But I was reading her website, and where she said that it was a coma. She'll people who are severely autistic, and I'm like, that's facilitated communication, lady, and that's not okay.
That's
And,
bullshit.
and
That's what that
if
is.
she would read that, she would say that the baby, she would read infants and tell them, and the infants would tell her that she doesn't like the name the parents chose for the child. Like this infant child knows a good name from a bad name. Like, I don't like that name that my parents named me. And she also reads animals, which I thought was interesting. And somebody put in the chat, and I was going to ask, can she read a pregnant cat?
Can you what?
A cat.
Could you read a
cat's
pregnant cat
Will she read
with
the kittens?
kittens?
And
And by the way, do cats go to heaven when they die? Apparently they do.
9 times.
Say again?
9 times. They have 9 lives, so they get
Oh,
they have
9
nine
times.
so they're 9
Yeah.
times.
Oh, she
Yeah.
did.
You
I
go to
like what
heaven.
she said.
Live.
I think they only go the 9th time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like how she said, she tried to get me to agree with her in auras. She said, well, you know, like with an aura, and I'm like, an aura? I don't agree with auras.
Leonard's got aura coming all out of him.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because she's like, well, you know, with auras. I remember Mark did a podcast with a paranormal show, and they were getting into it, like arguing. He was on the show, and the guy says, well, let's change the subject we can all agree on. Witches.
When she started talking about auras,
Find
There you
any
go,
subject,
Leonard.
find
I
any
love
her
subject.
view of
and all.
auras, that's whatever she had just been talking about earlier, and they were
You know-
both completely imaginary.
Wendy and Leonard, you'll agree with me. Susan, you'll agree with me. Trying to get people to define what it is they can do is almost impossible.
I don't
Yeah.
think she'd ever really thought about it because all
No,
the
they have-
questions I kept asking with her about were like, she wanted to sit down with somebody and get feedback from them and give them a reading and they would validate. That was her evidence. That was all she had is somebody sat down with me and had a reading and they agreed to some of the things I said. Well, hell, I'd have to agree to some of the things she said. I have a garden. I like flowers.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to the Caribbean.
Yeah, but with this same guy,
Well,
Jeffrey,
here's what I
it has
ended
to
up
be a guy
doing,
with a boat.
and I chatted about it on the,
Like
you
boats.
know, like on the chat during the phone conversation, which is my experience because of IIG, was that a whole bunch of these people with claims of the paranormal, it's mental illness. They are misinterpreting
Yeah.
something that is described probably in psychology, you know, like as psychiatric problems. And
Wendy?
they are we saw it over and over and over again.
we've just put a statement on the website that says that sometimes people have problems and they think they're broadcasting or hearing voices and they should go, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain and you should go get it checked. Now, it may not stop them, but at least we put it out there.
Right. You know, that always
In good
bothered me.
It's a good move.
We had
It's
so many
really good
mentally
to
ill
have done it.
people.
I'm
But
sorry,
you
two
know,
people.
Jim Underdown always said, we don't know if they have mental illness because of the ability or they have the ability because of the mental, or, you know, who's to say? I remember when you guys tested the guy with the cupping marks all over him, came in roaring drunk. I mean, dropped down drunk.
Oh, yes.
And the idea was, you know, guys, I think Mark Edward was there and some others, and they were like, what do we do? And they're like, well, you know, maybe to do this ability, you have to be drunk off your ass. How do we know?
I do my best work when I'm wasted. So
did.
I can attest to that.
So you guys
Apparently, Christopher
He also had to
Hitchens
take his shirt
could
off.
only-
Yeah, he was
apparently
sweaty. I
Christopher
swear he was
Hitchens
gonna
could
throw
only
up that
give good
bucket.
talks.
I was
He
like,
was
give him a
completely
bucket.
drunk.
Yep.
Give him a
Well, we
bucket.
used to have a psychiatrist, John.
Kiefer
Yeah, you had a psychiatrist.
and John Suarez.
Yeah, John Suarez.
Yeah,
Both of them.
who would keep us from getting into hot water.
Wendy, I just gave John Kiefer a challenge in which the person says that he had been certified as fully, what's the word I'm looking at, was fully mentally capable. He has no mental problems. I want that. I want that.
It would be nice.
Good
wouldn't
luck.
it?
We have all the best things. But you guys, I need to go. This has really
Yeah.
been fun. But it is,
Thank you,
we just
Susan.
hit
This
3
was
hours.
awesome.
3 hours and
Thank you.
15 minutes, and I have got to eat.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Susan.
I will do
Thank you.
everything for
Thanks a
Webcam.
lot.
Hey, you guys, make sure you like the YouTube channel for About Time, because I need to hit at least 100 subscribers and I'm at 62.
You
So
got
please,
mine.
just give me a few just so that I can hit 100 so I can get I need to fix something on there.
Okay.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna
Take care,
end this
Susan. Good to
all.
see you.
See you later.
That was fun. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Susan.
Thank you,
Leonard,
kiddo.
thank you.